That's not even English.
Let's go, baby.
No, into here.
Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby.
No, you gotta say it clear, otherwise you won't be able to hear it.
Let's go, baby.
Once a week we try getting people in. I mean, last week we was like, last week it fell through, but I guess, now we're back on track.
Let me see this. And then, it'll basically go whenever, but this will be the first time sitting from this side, so.
Different angles.
Yeah, but it's, I think it's better.
Sit on this side?
No, normally we have the couch over there.
Oh, yeah, because you guys changed all the.
And then I was like,
I like this layout way better, though.
Way better.
It's more open. Yeah. It doesn't feel so clustered.
I actually just did the same thing in my living room, like on Monday. Me and my wife were like,
let's just
change it
fucking
around.
Driving us nuts. So we got rid of like 2 or 3 side tables and gutted like all these dead plants and like it's just all open
refreshing.
now. And she's like, I feel like I can breathe.
It's funny because this is when I first ever took this side, it was kind of like this, and then I just like slowly switched it all around. Hence, those lights were there over that table.
Yeah,
and then and then we took them down because we moved shit around. They didn't really make sense there. They're just hanging in the middle of the room.
Yeah, because people used to hit their head.
Yeah. When the table's not there, you like it's close.
Maybe for you guys.
And then
people used to hit their head.
Now I might even put like a carpet because there was an area rug underneath here would be cool. And then those two. See how I took those? That used to be all across. Remember?
Yeah.
And then I separate. I'm gonna move those to the garage.
And even here there was like a big bench, right?
Yeah, where the outline is on the ground, there used to be a bench, and then that table was pushed up against there. But here, so this is where I'm going to move those home, and then I'm going to put that in the center of that wall, and then build it out, do stuff around it, and then those clocks. I got to figure out where to put those clocks.
Put the clocks like randomly, and just put like a time zone.
Yeah.
Just random, you know.
And then I want to put like 2 seats. Or like 2 chairs and like a little coffee table, so there's a little like gathering spot against that wall.
Yeah, even like a bench. If you had a bench, put it against the wall.
Yeah. So
I mean, I know when I got the house, is like I rearranged the room so many times because it's living room, kitchen, open concept.
Open concept.
Yeah. So it's just like we literally probably changed it like 10 times.
My dining room and living room's like all in the same one, so it's like. I gotta have to but there's also like the way my layout is you can only put the TV essentially one spot.
Yeah.
Because all the walls are kind of fucked, so it's like.
Yeah.
So there was this Eric, a member here, and I got talking to him, and he does some really cool stuff. He does like doodling type of like drawings and stuff, and he was like. You know what would be really cool is if on these beams, he's like, I could go and doodle black Sharpie up and down the beams.
Oh, yeah?
And I was like, that would probably be really cool.
Try it out.
Yeah, I was like, do one and see what it looks like.
Do a couple, see what happens.
But that would be, imagine it was just like, I don't know. I
mean,
guess
at one point, we were toying with the idea of opening this up completely.
Yeah.
And just going out to a roof. And build a little deck on the outside, right? So the other side is a roof, and just build like a little deck to come out.
But it was
put at least a doorway, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that was
sad. It's a touchy subject.
Sorry.
No. I ordered a custom garage door for there that slid up because the problem is the top of the roof on that side is like 5. It's like, I mean, one of those marks on the wall are it. It's like.
You'd have to
high.
step over it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So the top of that roof is not this bottom.
Level,
yeah. So then you only had a certain amount of height, and then it was like, it was becoming a pretty
bigger project. It always works out that way, right?
But that's why we took all this off this wall. This paneling was all the way down.
Oh, okay.
And then we wanted to see if we could, what was on the other side, if we could go through.
It's cool to have the exposed brick though too. Like
I'm gonna.
I did that in my kitchen. I took like the whole. Because I have an extension on the back of my house, so where the extension is, I took down and exposed the brick wall because you don't need to worry about the insulation.
It's just a cool look.
Yeah.
I keep contemplating taking this down, but I kind of think it looks good with the blue on this panel because it kind of is a TV and.
Well,
shit.
Also, if you have the TV, you want to have it mounted to something, right?
Yeah.
But I think it will still look sick if
With
you
it
take that off.
I know.
Because then that will be like complete all the way around.
Can you I guess are those? All
Yeah,
those,
it's just
like,
into the studs.
Are all those like boards like 100% necessary for like?
There was insulation.
Yeah, there was
the panel.
insulation.
But you can't take out the boards.
No, I wouldn't fuck with that.
Because then, you structural.
I don't think that's a structural wall. I think they just built that out. Like they just built.
Because
built
if it was just like a exposed brick
Just
wall and nothing,
completely.
no beams, that would be
I
sick.
never even thought of that.
Because it is brick, right? And those
But it
up there
it doesn't sit on the beams or anything.
No, it doesn't. The beams sit on the brick.
Well, that's what I'm
right
saying.
there.
Yeah, if you took out
so
the
you can
actual- the whole-
technically take out the whole
Even
thing.
every other, like, just start with every other one, see what that looks like. But yeah,
just
that would look
open it up.
so cool if it was
Then you
just.
actually gain
Yeah, you would.
technically
It would seem bigger.
it would look bigger. Yeah,
You'd have to fill in that floor there where that.
I had to do that in my house, and I put a board down on the floor,
Yeah.
just like inch thick. It's slightly raised, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're not going to step into it, and
Yeah,
it kind of
yeah,
looks
yeah.
a little bit cleaner.
Ooh, that's a very good idea. Why have I never thought of that?
Yeah, because this is just they just built it out so they could put paneling or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. And have insulation.
It'd be like this wall.
But you don't need
Yeah,
any.
just like this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that is. This is really cool.
That's the next step. Next weekend
Would it be hard?
to take it out.
You know, it'd be sick.
Just take a hammer and
you know-
Just fucking bang the shit out of it.
just
You know what? Which
rage.
would be cool is I want to build. I have a bunch of stuff that I want to build downstairs with like wood, like 2x4s and stuff.
What do you want to build?
I want to build just a frame to put around the garbages.
Oh,
So just
okay.
like a wood like pot basically to go around it.
Oh, so the garbage sits in. it.
Yeah, so it's just not a tin. Those ugly
That's
things
pretty
sitting
cool.
around.
Yeah.
So I'd need one for each of those.
Yeah, because you technically just have to open it up, and
Yeah,
you don't have to
yeah.
take it physically
Yeah.
away.
And you could just cut a hole in the side where you could have the exact same
Yeah.
usage as they do now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have like 16, 17.
Yeah, and then I could build a. I say we by default. I could build.
Yeah, you're gonna be doing this.
We could build a bench for there. We could build something out for there with that. Ooh, good idea.
Endless
Lots-
possibilities.
Endless,
Good idea.
endless. We got to get that cold tub.
Yeah, I was at Home Depot last night after I talked to you, and I went in there and they had like I could fit in it. It was definitely big enough.
Yeah.
$86, and I was like, should I just buy this right now and put it? And I was like, no, I can't give up. I can't just. Then I'm gonna have that one sitting there
What is it?
forever.
Though? Is it just like a bin or what was it?
It was like a inflatable.
Oh, was it actually?
Yeah,
cold
yeah,
plunge?
yeah.
It
Had it at
was
Home
for
Depot?
86
Yeah,
bucks.
It's
Seriously?
so weird that they had it at Home Depot.
I'm going to get that shit
Yeah, it was.
and just put it in the back.
Yeah, that's why I got mine. But now I gotta you gotta break the ice now because it's
too cold. Home Depot.
That would be yeah, but now it's automatically just stays cold.
Yeah, you don't have to put ice in it at all.
No.
It's fucking cold though. Now it's painful because like the ones that are regulated, like you can get in and their temperature set. So you're like,
Yeah.
even when it's super cold out, you can still have it at like 5 degrees.
Right. Now,
But
it's just whatever is outside.
Now it's whatever's outside.
Yeah. So you
Anything below like 6-7 degrees, it's fucking painful.
I know, but eventually it's just going to get even like colder.
Yeah.
It's just going to be an ice block then if it gets really too cold.
Yeah, if it gets too
Then
cold
you
overnight.
won't-
Well, usually if you keep breaking it,
Yeah.
it'll only freeze that top layer. But if
Yeah.
you forget to break it and then like a
Right.
week goes by, that top layer comes to
Yeah.
and then,
Then are you just screwed at that point?
well,
yeah,
then
you
it's
just gotta
over.
wait till
then.
it gets warm enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still do it?
I haven't done
regularly?
it this week. I haven't done it this week at all. I did it the day before it snowed. So what was that last week?
Yeah.
At the end of the week.
Now we're like screwed though because like
Well, I'm not building anything outside
I
of
know,
this weather.
I know, like you can't even get back there. So it's
I mean, we'll get warmer weather next week. I think all this shit is going to melt.
yeah, it's supposed to be like 6 and 7 and rain.
But tonight, I think it's going to come
No,
down.
it's supposed to be 30 centimeters or something tonight.
Yeah, tonight. I'm talking
Tonight,
about next week.
next
It's supposed to
week,
be
yeah.
I'll go
like
back up.
yeah,
That's good.
and rain.
I was gonna. No, I'm coming here tomorrow morning.
It's
Not
supposed
coming
to,
or
it's
coming?
supposed to snow a ton tonight, right?
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
don't know.
they're
You,
fire, so it's good.
it's like I asked him. I was like, "Hey, man, what's going on with your snow?" And this guy's like, sends me a picture of the backyard, and there's like
It's
literally
crazy.
just like a little
in
dust.
Kamoka,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing,
None.
like nothing, and
It's weird how like certain areas like got killed and then other
Yeah.
areas.
it was so weird. When were we here the other night? Oh, I was here on Monday night, must have been, and it was
Well, yeah, it was Monday night.
crazy snow. And I get home and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to spend an hour shoveling the driveway, blah blah blah. I get home and I'm like, oh yeah,
Because you drove home and it's like you're driving in a blizzard, and then you get closer to Komoka and it's just like
there's nothing on the ground. It's like, oh yeah, I don't have to shovel.
And then you go towards the east end, it even gets crazier. It's almost like a level of like you get X amount here, but then further east you go, and it's still London area. It's not even you're going out the door.
I heard by the lakes is even worse.
Yeah. Well, up north they had like state of emergency, 147 centimeters, dude. That's
we're going to Great Wolf Lodge this weekend, and like I think Buffalo got hit like really hard.
I seen that like those football games they have.
Well, they went to a football game and they had to shovel and shit.
Yeah, they couldn't even people are like couldn't even get into like their seats in like the stands.
Yeah, it's just like they're sitting in snow.
Yeah, it's just a snowbank.
Yeah, it's crazy.
With a winter jacket on.
I couldn't enjoy that. I couldn't enjoy being at a game like that.
Yeah, but you don't like
it's part
the
of their
cold.
culture,
Yeah,
right?
I don't mind. You're just like a pussy when it comes to cold, I think.
I hate it.
Like he won't run unless it's like 80 out.
Yeah, I'll run outside next year, buddy. Like I'm done.
I actually like running in the winter. It's just you just gotta have like all the proper.
Yeah, I don't mind it either.
Well, you guys can go ahead, man. Good
It
luck
does
to you
seem
guys.
so much easier once you start running. Once it starts getting nicer out, you're like, oh, that was way harder. I think.
Yeah. It's definitely harder, but like you just feel like a badass after you finish. You're like,
I saw a guy yesterday running, and I'm just like, good job, man.
More power
That's
to you.
all.
Yeah.
it's funny because
Power
I
to
used
you.
to like drive like years ago, and like I'd see a guy running in the winter. I'm like,
What a
this guy.
loser.
what are you trying to prove? And
Now he's
I'm
in
that guy.
you're going in an ice bath and going to go and running in the
Now I'll
snow.
do that. I'll do the ice baths, no problem.
Yeah, right.
It's hard to do like in this temperature, this cold. Like I'm like literally almost a daily ice bath person up till November.
And
Now
then it
it's
gets
like
too cold.
now it's so cold that I'm like, it's like a plunge more than a bath. You know.
But is it
I'm
the
not-
actual? Is it the fact that it's colder outside,
Yeah, it's the
or is it the
temperature
fact
drop.
that the water's colder? Like, do you mind?
Oh, I don't care about the temperature outside. It's the fact that the water's cold.
Is that much colder?
Yeah, like it's like it goes from like, oh, this is cold, breathe through it, to this is painful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it literally feels.
What's the duration you going for?
Well, like in the like up till like November, like in November, I was doing like 2-3 minutes at a time. But now it's like,
Now it's just get in,
now
get
it's
out.
like if you're in
to
it
10
like a
once.
full like minute, you're like
Yeah.
breathe through it for like 1 minute, and then I'm like,
And how crazy is it that 1 minute that you're in there feels so long?
oh yeah.
Like a
But
minute.
like it, like I don't know, maybe like study wise, you don't get all the benefits out of it if you're only in it for like
Yeah.
a minute. But like I get what I need out of it. Like I still get out feeling like fucking,
Awake.
like super awake,
Yeah.
like energized. I get like that. Woo! Like fucking.
You just
fuck
do it in the
yeah.
morning, and
Just
then
do it in the morning. I only do it in the morning. I've never done it like in the evening or anything like that.
like you wouldn't be able to go to sleep. Imagine you go after this and just go in there,
No,
jump
you'd be
in.
wired.
You'd be wired.
Maybe a good thing to do if you're going to the bar or something.
Probably.
Good idea.
Like
they
a
say actually,
shot of
study-wise, they
adrenaline,
said
basically.
it's like supposed to have like the closest effects of like cocaine without like
Yeah, I can
doing
see it. I
Like-
mean, it
like
is
that
pretty
residual
like
effects
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah. Imagine they start having them at like they probably do somewhere at bars.
That would be a new concept.
Fucking,
Just
Like
like
instead of the bull,
Norway.
just jump in. Yeah.
instead of people riding the bull, it's like who could stay in the
Cold
cold tank the
Yeah,
longest.
fucking the Swedish probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the Norwegian people. But it would be awesome having a sauna and a cold plunge at the same time. That would be awesome.
I want to get a fucking sauna for the backyard so bad.
Me too.
Because then I have the trifecta. I have the sauna, the hot tub, and the cold plunge
Do you use the hot tub much?
every night almost.
We're back. I'm gonna go tonight. The nights like this when it's like cold out and like
That's
Well,
the
it's sweet too
best.
because I pick up like a 6-pack at the beginning of the week and slowly chip away at it. And then,
in the hot tub.
And then, yeah, like every night.
Yeah.
That's my like wind down after work.
Yeah.
Come home. Now I like last night I just put it in the snowbank right beside the fucking hot tub.
Perfect.
It's like keeps it cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the hot tub obviously in the winter, but a sauna would be even better. That would be like
See, I want to do the sauna in the. I think I would do it in the morning. Like I would do sauna for like maybe 20 minutes, and then go in the ice bath,
And then
start your day.
Yeah.
And then the hot tub's always an evening thing.
Yeah, that's why I'm so.
It's like hot tub, you're relaxed. You know.
Yeah.
In a sauna, you're like relaxed, but you're not kind of not. Like,
Your
it's kind of
body's still
uncomfortable.
stressed out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I would probably do it usually night times. I used to do it night times, just
sauna?
like
Yeah,
sauna
same,
night
but
time,
depending, I guess. Like,
and then that's
if you're
it.
going in there to like really get hot for
Also,
long,
like
then,
I want to put it like my backyard backs onto like forest.
yeah,
So like I want to put it in the back,
Looking
so, like,
out.
face the forest. So I think that'd be sick. Like at night, you wouldn't be able to see shit. It'd just be the fucking
Yeah.
black. So if he was like,
just
in the
get a
morning,
spotlight that
you know,
points out there.
I think that'd be scary.
You probably don't want to see what's out
Blair
there.
Witch Project shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea.
I'll put one. I'm gonna
I would be
do it next
terrified.
summer. I have to do it.
just like thinking you're seeing like
I'm still that
someone's
guy. Yeah,
eyes.
like if I was like, my wife's like, you know, put out the garbage, and it's like fucking.
Just
I'm like,
black.
no,
I'm
you.
like, I don't know, man. That shed in the backyard is real far away. I can't see. I don't know what's out there.
That's hilarious.
Especially, you know, October, you've been watching a scary movie. You're like, I don't know, man.
The garbage is staying in this
Fucking
week.
anybody. Could
You
be
just
in
start
those bushes.
thinking, you know. You just get these like thoughts. And you're like,
Paranoia,
what the
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about
paranoia.
I started watching that show. I know, side note, but the Madness.
The Madness. I haven't heard it.
It's decent.
Is it new on
It's on
Netflix?
Netflix. Yeah, it's like
I
this
gotta watch
guy
it.
gets like goes to the woods and these like people try and find him and shit. It's not. It's more like thriller than horror. It's not
Yeah.
horror or anything, but yeah, it's good.
I've been watching Diplomat. You told me about that one.
The second season's. You're watching the second season?
No, I just finishing the first season right now.
What is that? It's like a politics show?
Kinda. Yeah. Like yeah.
Yeah, it's
basically.
politics, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
politics,
just,
and
like,
it's like
scheming and shit.
Yeah, the way you see it is like that. Probably how it works.
Yeah.
In the,
Oh
in
yeah,
the
like
real
corruption
world.
and stuff
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
100%. It's like you can see it happen. Like House of Cards, same shit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
What else am I watching?
I'm watching that new Dune. Like, did you watch Dune?
No, but you're the second person today.
I
I watched the
watched it.
movies,
It's
but
awesome.
Prophecy, the new show.
So I didn't see. I'm a type of guy that I can't watch it week to week. I have to wait till it's completely out
completely
and then
out,
just
yeah.
binge. It's completely out. Dune is completely
No,
out.
it's not completely out. I'm still waiting week to week. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I want to wait till it's completely out and then just go and.
I'm doing
and-
Dune and what was it the Landman show with Billy Bob Thornton?
Oh, I heard that's
Oil-
sick.
oil rigs and
Yes,
stuff?
yes, I heard that
No.
one is sick.
It's on Netflix or does
That one is on Paramount Plus.
Landman? I feel like I did see that.
It's on Apollo. It's on Apollo, but I think it's also weekly, right?
Yeah, it's a weekly thing too. Yeah, so same thing. I'm like, so now that's like the two shows that we tune in, me and my wife, every week. It's just like,
Yeah.
so
Did
she
you
does-
watch Penguin?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, that
Penguin
one's
was
so good.
awesome.
Yeah, I
that
love that
was
one.
awesome.
My wife doesn't even like that kind of stuff, like anything fancy. Or, she doesn't like it, but that
No.
one she liked because it's kind of like just crime.
Yeah, it's not really like you didn't.
more
yeah,
like mob boss.
Yeah.
Like they don't even talk about Batman. So.
Right?
No,
No, he's not
Just
even,
at the very end, they did you finish
Well,
it?
Yeah, I finished it.
the they just
The
like
sun
toss on the
comes up,
sign.
that's
Yeah, the
the
sign
only-
comes
But
up.
it literally happens after the Batman, right?
Yeah,
It's
it
a
takes place
continuation,
like,
right?
a week or
Right
something like
after,
that after
yeah, the floods
the
and
week or a
shit.
month after the flood. Yeah.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Well, spoiler, that thing was
You haven't
crazy.
seen-
How he
The Batman. Yeah, I mean,
well for how he got the guy at the end was the like
Yeah, it was like how,
Oh, yeah, he killed
like
him?
he
Yeah.
Victor, yeah, he fucked him up, man. I feel bad for the kid, man.
I started watching. What
That
was
was,
that?
but that's just like that's
what
how
was
it is.
creepier was like the mom part. Like he
Yeah,
Yes,
for
yeah.
sure. It's like, oh man, this is like.
Here we go, ma.
Yeah.
And
And he's
she's
so
just-
psycho, and he's like,
Or
"You're
he
at the
killed-
top."
The fact that he killed his brothers too, because he's
Yeah.
just like a mama's boy.
Yes,
Yeah, all of it,
that was
yeah.
wild too. It's
Yeah.
just like you locked them in there. See you later, and just sitting. Let's watch a movie, ma.
Yeah, that's so. Well, it just shows like how big of a psychopath. he is,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
And that she knew.
Yeah, that.
She ended up and she knew all this
The whole
time,
time,
right?
yeah.
Right, yeah,
And then just how she was gonna set him up
right.
at
Yeah,
that.
yeah. She wanted
yeah.
to kill him too. Yeah.
But I started watching that other one. Not the one where they're in the silo.
That's a sick one.
Really?
I like that one.
I got into the second season. I was like, this.
I
don't
didn't.
get
There's a
it.
second season out.
Yeah, I think it just came out.
What's
I
that
think it's like that's
just-
the
they-
one where they're like underground,
They're underground and it's a silo. They just like move from floor to floor, and then
and then they don't know that there's other. They go
and then
up
they
and
send people out, and then they don't know if they actually make it.
and there's
right?
other silos full of
Right,
people and
right.
shit. It's. I thought the
Kind of like
first.
one of these like mind fuck kind of thing.
It's more like Dune,
yeah.
kind of like underground apocalypse. The world
fancy it?
ended,
Okay.
but like everyone lives underground now and
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, okay.
But they don't really know what's going on outside until they actually go outside. So they give them like they have this image when people go outside, so people don't know if it's fake image or if they cut it off. So because usually they make it to like a ridge and then just fall, so they don't even know what's behind that ridge.
It's kind of like, what is that movie, Cloverfield?
Yeah, that
Where
was
they're, like,
crazy too.
Where like, do you remember that?
No,
Where it's
I
like
don't know.
John, was it John? What's his name? Plays fucking Fred Flintstone. John.
I don't know
Wick.
the guy's name, but yeah, Cloverfield was wild too. Yeah.
So like the whole premise in that movie is like, like it's set up like a fantasy movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, if you go outside, like he's in a bunker and he's got these 2 girls in there or whatever. So I think it's 2 girls, and then they're like, if you go outside, like there's like a monster, aliens out there, like, and they'll fuck you up kind of thing.
I think I do remember.
And it
this
sounds like
little
a
bit now.
big. The whole movie, you're like, this guy's crazy, and he's abducted these people.
Yeah.
And then no, the very end they get out and it's fucking true. Like, what the fuck?
Did you watch From?
That was awesome. Filmed in Halifax.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't. I gotta watch the first episode. Like,
I watched all 3. I just finished the 3rd season. It's sick.
Someone
That's a
said
good
that
one.
one's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Are we doing this now? Is this this it? Is this happening?
Yeah.
This is happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
I just didn't know like it was like there was an intro or
No, and then it just starts wherever it starts. Type of thing,
From
but
is sick. I like that one. That's pretty sick.
where they go through city and they get stuck.
They
in the
just
city.
get stuck in like a town, and that's
I
it.
saw the thing and I was like, oh, this kind of like looks freaky.
It is freaky.
Yeah.
It is freaky, and it's just like you start thinking, what the hell is going on here? Because they come from all over the place, and yeah, it's cool. Check it out.
Movies.
What's the recent one I watched?
Waiting for Moana 2 to come out on.
Isn't it already out?
Apollo.
Oh, for Apollo, yeah.
Is it already out?
The movie's out. Yeah, yeah,
I don't have kids.
yeah. It's out.
I wanna watch Gladiator too.
Yeah, my client I actually tattooed today. He was like saying that it was really good.
My client that I trained today said it's unreal.
Yeah.
Same
But
thing.
I was like, the Denzel thing kind of throws me off. I was like,
He said it was just good. He said it was the exact same like storyline and everything.
Yeah.
and, like,
because
nothing really changed.
like, did you guys watch the first one?
Yeah.
So the first one, the little kid, he's the main actor now.
Yeah,
he's grown up.
Gladiator, yeah.
And even his mom, I believe, is also in this movie. So there's 2 characters there from the old movie into the. In the
Oh,
new
really?
movie.
But I heard like some of the critics were just like, you know, because everybody's British in the movie because it's like the Roman Empire, and then like
They
it's
sucked.
just like Denzel. American.
out of
He's just like
place.
he's just like running the fucking show, but talking in an American accent and just like being Denzel Washington. So it's like hard to kind of like
Mix the two.
make him that character because you're
Yeah.
like you're a badass motherfucker, but you're Denzel
Right.
Washington. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah.
You're
you don't
the
really, like,
equalizer,
believe
man.
him as like
You're the
The
equalizer.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
No, I
So
gotta
you think
watch
of
it.
Equalizer? I always think of fucking Training Day. That's
Oh,
why, like,
Training Day. Yeah.
Equalizer's one of the
But Equalizer.
Training
Equalizer
Day. Yeah,
too.
for sure.
I always think of King Kong ain't got nothing.
Yeah. That was a
that
great
was
movie.
on the other day.
Yeah.
Actually, I was watching a little bit. Of
It's
it.
funny too. It's like you're like speaking of remembering like what you think of the character. Like at the beginning, Keanu Reeves is like, all right, he's Neo from the Matrix, and
Yeah,
now
yeah.
he's John
John
Wick.
Wick, yeah.
So everyone knows him as John Wick. Now they forgot about the Matrix.
It's because like all these fucking kids now, right? They don't remember like OG roles or whatever.
Yeah, especially probably the Matrix and shit.
Yeah, like that was like what early 2000s,
Matrix?
late 90s.
I think '99 Matrix
Yeah,
1
so
came
like
out.
I mean, some of these fucking kids aren't even like
I know
born yet.
movies, bro.
That's kinda weird,
Yeah,
that-
no, I love movies, dude. I love that shit. I do. I'm obsessed. I like as soon as
2026 is supposed to be the good movie year. They got the Batman 2, which I'm excited to see who the bad guys is in that.
2026.
2026.
2026.
Dune, like the
third one?
Third one.
Yeah.
Dune Messiah, I think it's called. Fuck, what else is there? That's another big show. Oh, Star Wars has Mandalorian film.
Yeah, Mando was sick. Did you watch the show? I don't know if you're in Star Wars.
Star
You gotta
Wars.
be
I'm
like,
not
yeah.
really a Star Wars guy.
Yeah, so
But
that's
you don't have to be
coming out.
for Mando. I don't think you have to be a Star Wars guy.
Not
for
as
Mandalorian.
much. I mean, there's like little things in it for sure
Yeah.
that like, you know, they reference the original, but
Yeah.
a lot of these ones are now just side fucking shit.
Yeah, they did it. I mean, Mando was good, and then I didn't like the new Star Warses.
A lot of the new shows are like
Yeah.
kind of half-assed.
Yeah, they don't make good shows like they used to be, and a lot of people have like short attention span. They can't even go through a movie and watch like a 2.5 hour movie.
Dune was hard to watch.
For you?
Well, no, I mean not hard to watch, just like long.
It's
Wasn't
just
it, like
long, yeah.
super long?
See, I don't mind that if it's like long, if it's something I'm super into. Like, I'll watch fucking hours out. Like, just visually, that movie was so like, I'm a big like, because it's a creative guy, right? So it's like big, like if it's visually appealing, I'll be into the movie more. Like, where my wife's like, she's like, I don't care. Like, I need to see somebody die or get shot. Or like, I need some drama. Like, she's all about that, right? And I'm just like, shh.
Yeah. No, it's. Do you prefer watching a movie theater or just wait till it comes out, or depends what movie?
For the movies, yeah. Like if it's like a comedy or something, I won't ever go to the theaters. But
Edis goes every Sunday by himself.
I sometimes go by myself.
I went to Alien by myself, Alien Romulus.
Oh, that was pretty good too.
Yeah, Morgan was telling me about it. She's like, oh, you gotta go check it out. It's gonna be sick. And then I was like, cool. And I asked my wife, and she was like, I'm not going.
You're like, yeah, I'm going.
Well, that's what Vera says sometimes. She's like, no.
I'm gonna go by myself. Then,
yeah,
so.
Dude, I go to movies by myself. I don't care. Like, no shame in the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm not.
Who cares?
I went to a late show. There's like not very many people there. So.
You're just sitting there and just like watching.
Like people know who I am. I'm this fucking loser by himself.
Yeah. No, I if it's really something that I'm into, like Marvel, for example, I'll go watch, and like Vera would come sometimes, but then sometimes she's like, nah, fuck it. So I'm like, oh.
Well, I made my wife go to, she saw Wicked the other week by herself. So I was like, not by herself. She went with girlfriends, but I was like, I ain't going to see that.
Yeah.
But that's much different than going by yourself.
Yeah.
If she went by herself, that'd be like still
But that's
completely
more of
different
a
than
musical
going.
too. I think it was a musical.
yeah.
People are singing in the movie theater and shit.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't do that.
No.
It's got to be something.
That's why what's that other movie that just did? Oh, the new Joker movie did really bad too because they fucking turned it into a musical.
I just turned it on yesterday for tea, the Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I mean that was always a musical though. It was a musical,
Willy Wonka Chocolate Factory.
Was it?
Yeah, Charlie and Chocolate Factory. That was a musical with what's his name?
I guess.
Gene Wilder?
I guess so. For some reason, I didn't like think of it.
I mean, there wasn't like a ton of musical numbers.
The one with the
was.
Johnny Depp, I don't think it was like big. They had like a few scenes, but I don't think it was like with Johnny Depp.
No, Johnny Depp was the second one.
Second one, the original.
Gene Wilder, Johnny Depp, Timothy Chalamet.
And there's only two?
There's three.
I don't know which one I have.
There's three. The original one.
Gene Wilder, Johnny Depp,
Johnny
now
Depp.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, it was the
Timothy
third one,
Chalamet is the Dune guy.
Yeah, that's who it was.
Man, he was badass in that movie. Like he's kind of like a little bitch, but then in that movie, I'm like,
well, I think
You're
like
sick.
I mean, I think he's turning.
he was badass.
Well, I think he's turning into a bad guy. I don't know what the next, like the third one's gonna be.
Yeah, if they in the books apparently, like he's his character kind of. He's fucked up because I don't know how much they're gonna base off the books because the books get really weird.
Right.
They've already like edited stuff out to make it like kind of suit the director's thing because there are like more like aliens and weird shit in the book that like they kind of don't like. If you ever watched the original Dune in the 70s,
Yeah.
there's like tons of weird alien things that are like not in the series because it's not the same aesthetic. But and then like in the third one, he's like they're supposed to have like a kid. And the kid's supposed to turn into like he's half human, half giant sandworm.
Yeah.
So like I know they're not going to do that. Like that seems too like far fetched for that universe.
Yeah.
Too extreme.
So it's like you got to make it
You kind of
suit
lose
the book,
people at
but
that
then
point.
also like suit the style of the film, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
And is that going to be the last one? You think?
I think it'll be the last movie. But there is lots of like there's like 5 or 6 books, I think.
Yeah.
So like they might keep doing like TV shows.
Because the show right now is about those witches or whatever. Or
Yeah, so it's 10,000 years before Paul Atreides was born, and it's like the beginning of the Bella Gesserit or whatever it's called. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't.
And then like it's all
I
about
went
like
to the movie because Jake asked me to go with him.
Oh right, that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So.
You have to like either you're like you like
yeah,
that
but I still
style or you
like
don't.
it.
Yeah,
It was still like.
it's hard to follow too. Like if you got to be like really paying attention to like all this because especially in Dune, like there's so many different like characters and like all the houses because it's almost like Game of Thrones where there's different houses and families.
Right.
And then they all have like background beef with other families and houses.
and then it sometimes goes and gives you a little bit backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Goes back
no,
in time.
but for the reason why you said you can sit through long movies, like I found it like entertaining and like because of just the like.
And visually, like I think it like that was one of the few movies you watch it and you're like, I feel like this is real. Like it didn't feel like this is a set, and it didn't feel like it was CG. It was like
Yeah, I feel like
everything was like filmed like on
I feel
location.
like I did mushrooms a little bit too.
Even better.
That might have helped it feel a little bit more real.
Yeah.
Turned out it was I thought it was a 45-minute long movie.
Well, that's what I was just gonna say. If you're into the movie and the movie's like 3 hours long, and you're sitting there and so all of a sudden it's over, you're like, "Fuck, man, 3 hours just flew by."
You know what movie felt so long? Was that new John Wick movie?
Yeah.
The last.
Dude, I went to the washroom and then came back and there was still the same fight
Still
scene.
fighting.
Yeah, I did. But I mean, it's like you're just like
Like that was
Still
like I was just
good.
felt too stimulated by like like more fights.
I just
more
need to
fights. It's
breathe
like,
for a few
yeah,
minutes.
like I was
here.
just like, man, you can't fight for like 25 minutes. Like
It's
like
a
when I was
little bit.
watching a UFC match and they didn't have rounds, like
Yeah.
you would get like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been
pause.
I've been rewatching those every like when I run in the morning. I just put it on, just rewatch.
Oh yeah, it has been on down there.
Because I just
do
put it
remember
on and
that.
I just watch it for like 30 minutes and then just get off
yeah?
the treadmill and that's
One
it.
fight
yeah.
scene.
Exactly. It's just like one fight scene and it's over. It's like, all right, my run's done.
That's funny. I've been watching these guys that go like travel everywhere, and they do like a 20 versus 1,000. So one of them's got to live off $20 for the night, and one's got to live off 1,000.
Okay.
And it's like Asia, like anywhere, like worldwide type of thing. It's crazy. It's so funny.
I gotta watch that. That's
I'm curious.
that
It's like
seems
I
pretty
heard
cool.
like in certain parts of Asia, like your money can go.
A long way.
Well, that's what I mean.
far.
That's like in most of these places, you can like $20. You can have a little bit to eat. You can drink, and you can like they'll find like a $5-10 hostel type of
Yeah.
thing, and then the other guy just absolutely kind of like just balls out.
Destroys. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're like
lavish.
animals, you know. Like
Yeah,
it's a good. It's hilarious.
Like Danny Duncan, eh?
Yeah, I guess.
No, that's all. There's just so much shit out there. I mean, there's like shows, movies coming out daily.
Well, and the thing is too, is there's so many
can't even-
streaming stuff that you don't even know about these shows unless
Right.
you have that streaming network.
I don't
Right.
even. Well, yeah, even that's what Apollo's good for
Oh, okay.
because he kind of has everything. But I don't need like. Do you watch YouTube a lot?
Yeah, like I watch car videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, cars.
Cars, motorcycles, all that. Like
Motorcycles. This is what I was watching before we got here.
What are they
You know
ripping
this
through
guy?
the?
what is it?
Brian 636.
Brian 636 now.
It's pretty crazy.
Were they in parking garage just going wild right
Yeah.
now?
I'll do like reviews or like guys that build out cars and like follow like custom
Yeah,
car
yeah.
stuff. All that stuff.
No, but yeah, I find myself watching like even at
I think
home because
you're
it's
more
like,
of a YouTube guy.
well, it's like why would I not watch something that like not to sound corny, but you actually are interested in take
You do
something
learn
from
from
versus
stuff,
just
yeah.
some bullshit
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
That's the
Netflix
thing, is
or
like-
like The Office again.
Or like, TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I don't. Yeah.
Fucking if you get caught, man, I've got caught on some of those. You're just like scrolling
You-
for like.
you
half
just
hour,
go down a
45
rabbit
minutes.
hole.
I don't
man.
even have TikTok.
It's good. Don't ever get it.
Yeah.
I
I
made fun
don't
of people
either,
that had
yeah.
it, and then I got it, and then now you get addicted real quick.
Yeah, no, I don't
something
have
in
that.
it.
I never got into it.
I mean,
or
I'm sure it's
interested,
not
but-
all. Is it all that different from Instagram though? As far as like,
It's just
Well,
it's
with
just,
the reels that they
addiction-wise?
have right
it's just
now.
like quick reels, and then it's like, but it's like a variety of everything. Like some of them are funny, some of them are like you can learn stuff. Like you can like look up like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If I'm into like building out a garage, a guy will do like a quick 30-second video in phases of like how he built out a home gym in his garage.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
there's some cool stuff, but then it's like also like just a girl like twerking to some fucking music, and it's just everything all at once. And then it's like, so you're like,
you're like
and then,
shit. 3 hours
and it's
later.
not like you can follow people, but most people go on it and they don't follow anybody. Just a giant For You page.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
the more you use it, the more the algorithm recognizes what kind of content you like.
Yeah, so
So,
I
like-
think even the longer you're on something, it's just like, all right, this person is
Oh,
interested
yeah.
in that. It's just like,
It's the
all
more
right,
specified
this-
it is,
right? Yeah,
But then also sometimes it's just random, and then if you like interact with one video for too long, it thinks you like that. So like my wife will like watch like a cat video because this one particular one's funny, and then the next 30 fucking videos on her
They're
thing
all
will just be all about
cats.
cats, and she's like, "Why you keep fucking showing me cats?" But then she keeps going.
Yeah.
Why do you get through the cats?
it's like a lose-lose.
Yeah, but then fucking she'll like I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna watch a movie at night, and she'll be like, cool, I'm gonna do this for like 45 minutes, as if it's the same fucking thing. You know, it's like that's the difference between the generations, though, right? Like kids
Yeah.
are like they look at, we went from movies to TV shows, and now TV shows are really popular.
Well, and because there's 100x the amount
well,
available
yeah, there's
to
so
you.
many more streaming networks
Yeah.
and everything like that. But now people don't even have the attention span for that. So
Yeah.
like everything's
Right.
content's getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah.
Quicker,
Right?
yeah.
So now they're like, fucking, you need to entertain people in 30 seconds. And even now with the business and stuff, social media, you know, I've looked into like, you know, how do you get more followers and get more people to attract your page, stuff like that. And it's the same thing. It's like, you need to catch people's like eye in the first like
Right
5
away.
to 10 seconds of the video
For
in
them
order
to,
to keep,
like,
to keep
yeah,
watching it.
yeah.
Otherwise they're going to scroll past it. Right. And
Right.
it's like, that's fucked, right? Like you got to catch everybody's attention
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fast.
It's wild. It's literally seconds.
Like
But-
that Landman show, like we turned it on the other night, and like I'm like giving it a chance, and like my wife's like, show fucking sucks. I was like, it's been like 10 minutes. Like, I was like, she's like, I don't care about these characters. Like, why are they like? She's like, nobody's died yet. There's no drama. Like again,
No one's getting shot and killed right now.
I'm like, she loves that fucking murder mystery
yeah.
stuff.
That's I didn't have that same, but like even the Penguin, like kind of the first couple, I was like waiting for crazy shit. Maybe I lied. Maybe
It's like, how long does it take you
I feel
to-
like all of a sudden in the Penguin, it just started like
taking off.
getting.
What would you
violent.
what would you give it? Like, would you give it an episode, 2 episodes? What's your max on a show?
Yeah, because that's what the thing is. A lot of these shows like set up. They're trying to show the background of the character before you get into it.
Probably for me long enough, like 2 or 3 episodes, like that. The Silo one I watched,
Yeah,
and I just like couldn't like it was.
it was too much.
I think
and you're
2
like,
episodes. You need to be like hooked by 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah.
like nobody because if an episode's like especially now if they're an hour,
Right.
Nobody's gonna watch like oh I'm gonna give this a chance after 3 hours.
Well,
You're gonna
probably-
be like
Yeah.
an hour and a half. If you're not
And
drawn into it.
if the season is like 8 episodes, right? So you got to make your point within the first
Yeah.
two.
yeah, if that first episode and a half doesn't catch you, you're like
Yeah.
I'm off.
Especially when there's so many shows that are good, where you're like you watch 20 minutes and like somehow you've watched 4 episodes.
The best
throughout
shows,
the
I think
night.
the best shows that do good is like, you know, they show you a little thing at the front of the
And then-
season. And then they circle back to it at the
Yeah.
very end of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like some fucking crazy thing happens, like somebody gets
Yeah, which show
murdered, and
was
then they're
like
like,
that?
okay, and then this is the
Right.
backstory.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you're like,
Which
oh fuck,
show
I
was
need
And
to
it's like
watch
some
the whole
shit
show.
happens, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like,
And then
how
you're
the fuck
just
did
like,
that
how the
happen?
fuck- yeah, like what the fuck now?
That's a smart, like,
Yeah.
you know, system.
Concept.
To
Yeah.
catch people's attention, right?
Yeah.
And then it could be so slow for the whole thing, and then the last episode you find out what actually happens.
It's like, oh, he just slipped in the
Waste. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I do find myself watching a decent.
But then
amount of
even when you
YouTube.
go on YouTube, right? It's just like after you've done a clip, then it's like maybe
Yeah,
you're
are you
interested in
searching
here.
on YouTube or are you like just
no,
like,
it's generally
browsing
like the
just-
people I follow.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I don't know. Yeah,
But how'd you
People-
get to those people? Did you find out, or you just like came up and then
don't
you're like,
know.
oh shit, this is like, let me look that up? Because with you, what do? You just like
I
Google,
search,
you search like
I'm
whatever.
on YouTube is for a very specific reason. It's like there's like how do I like I'm learning something like how do I fucking put together
Right.
this thing for my key or some shit.
Yeah, no.
Or like car videos. Like, but again, that's like, you know, because I'm like, oh, the new fucking Lamborghini came out, and this guy's gonna
Let me
review
check
it
it
and
out.
tell you
Yeah,
all
yeah.
about it. And I'm like, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
again, you're learning something, but it's something
Right.
you're interested in.
yeah. I don't
Or
know.
like movie trailers because they always have all the movie trailers.
yeah.
Right. That's true.
But like, other than that, I don't think I really go on YouTube.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
Like,
You
not just like general entertainment. Like I'm not the guy like, you know, I know people years ago that used to, before like TikTok and all that stuff, people would just go on there to watch funny videos. But like I've never been like, oh, let's watch some cat videos on YouTube. Like,
Yeah, no.
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
it's just like curated. You're like follow the people you're interested in.
Right. So that
And a lot of the stuff-
Same thing with me. It's just like sometimes I'll see shit that he watches, and I was like, oh shit, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
So I'll go home and I'll check it out.
I mean,
right?
it's no different than like like Jade will chirp me, but it's like at least that I'm taking something away from it. Like
Yeah,
some
100%.
of it's like the same range. Like I love The Office. I'm not chirping The Office, but
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Office is just a silly thing to put on, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you're-
or like so even compared to that, at least this I'm interested in, and like it's
You're educating yourself in
applicable
some
things
way.
possibly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Versus fucking
world knowledge or something like that.
some of the other stuff that
Or like you got into hunting or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like watching some videos on like,
Well,
this is
even
guys
the-
in the outback and this is how they're hunting
well,
this.
the
Like,
best part
you're
is
learning
like
something, right?
10 minutes later, she'll have like housewives bullshit.
Yeah, something
on.
like mind numbing.
And I'm like, this is like making me dumber.
yeah, exactly.
Like, how are you gonna chirp me? Like,
Yeah, my wife's the same way. She's like either watches like, or like in her like spare time, she'll watch these like true crime.
Yeah.
I'll wake up in the morning, like she'll come downstairs. She's like making breakfast, and it's just like a cold dead body sat in the corner. Of the room.
but those are like the most popular ever, right? Like,
Yeah, well, apparently it's. I couldn't fucking like, and it's
I
like
couldn't
always the most
either.
monotone guy. It's not like somebody narrating it like it's a fucking movie or something.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
weird.
Dude, now Vera, same thing, man. She loves that shit.
It's just
yeah,
like
I do know. I don't. Jay
Loves
doesn't, but
that
I do
shit.
know that's like a very popular
I know
genre.
it's popular, but I'm like, why? Like I don't like the last thing I would want to do when
And
I
then
wake
it's
up in
like,
the morning is hear about.
Are you learning how to
some girl got,
fucking like get rid of a body?
I'm like,
you're
why
an
don't you listen
expert
to
right
Joe
now?
Rogan where you could learn how snakes grow?
Yeah.
But yeah, at least, but again, at least that's entertaining. Like,
Yeah.
they're just and like like Rogan will talk about crazy stuff. all
Oh,
the time.
yeah.
And it's like a variety of topics. This is just like all these different like murder, rape, fucking victims, all this
Right,
stuff. It's just
right.
like crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
I
It's
don't
just
get
like,
how it's.
it's just
Like,
like how
Get
you-
into it, though.
How are you
They're just
starting your
like-
day like that?
Right.
Like, and then like also, what kind of mindset is that like for the rest of the day? Like,
but
you're so desensitized.
I'll watch like the new murder
Yeah,
series.
now if
that-
it's trying to figure out who the murderer was, like like I love those kind of movies. And
but like even the
Or like Jeffrey Dahmer, for example.
the documentary and shit. Like I'll
I
watch
enjoyed
all
watching
those.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like watching it all that different from listening to it. Yeah, it is. That's a little weird if you just listen to.
I think it's because
podcasts.
I was like they set those things up in an entertaining way. Like these are like she literally will listen to like it just sounds like case
reading an
files.
encyclopedia.
Like it's just like like
yeah.
came home at 12:05 on Thursday night.
Went to
Whole
bed.
body was sitting on the floor. Several gash wounds in her right arm.
Yeah.
Limbs chopped off.
It appeared to be a struggle. The back door was broke open. It was like okay.
Gotta make my toast. 'Cause there's shit on it.
Let's have some breakfast.
Yeah, let's make
Bye.
some fucking scrambled eggs.
Let's go get in the cold plunge.
Yeah. Just like okay.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's.
Everybody's got their own float your boat, right? That's the
Right.
amazing thing about everything else right there today, right? You can listen to wherever you want.
I do listen to mostly podcasts though in the car and everything.
Only on like long drives.
Yeah, same here. I can't do it. Like
I can't
Really?
do it
'Cause then
like
I'm like-
driving from my house to a gym.
if I
like,
want to
can't.
I want to get into it, right?
Right.
So it's like I want to listen to the whole thing. So if I
Right.
get into like a podcast and it's like, oh, they're funny, and then I got to turn it off, I'm like frustrated. I'm like, well, I want to hear the rest of that.
No, I'm like I barely listen to music in the car.
Yeah?
It's all like podcasts, and it's just like start, and then you continue up where you left off when you get back in the car.
No, I can't do that. I can do it while I'm cooking because I'm like, if
Right.
I'm like, making dinners, like gonna be like 20 minutes.
Right. If I have like a half hour,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly, same
absolutely.
thing.
That you don't listen to anything either ever when you work.
Only music.
You do listen to music though. Like do you listen to headphones when you're
No, not
tattooing?
headphones, but just the shop has like
Just
we have
general.
speakers going through the whole shop, and
Yeah.
we just change up the music. But
Do a lot of would tattoo artists listen to something in their ear? Or is there something like wrong?
I know
with-
of a few tattoo artists that have like headphones in, like while they tattoo. I like half the fun for me for tattooing is like talking to my client. Like
Right.
you get to know different people, hear their story, and I always do is like ask them. You know what I mean? It's like if they seem like they're struggling, they don't want to talk. I'll be like, hey, if you want to just chill out.
Yeah,
Because sometimes they'll bring in headphones, and I'm like, if you want to listen to your headphones, or sometimes they'll watch a show on their phone.
Right.
I'm like, you zone out, do whatever you gotta do. But
I would use, and then I was like, I think I was just listening to something good that day, and I wanted to keep.
yeah,
listening
sometimes
to it,
people
but-
listen to a podcast and like not talk to me at all. Other times people will sit there and it's just like awkward silence between the two of us. And other times we get
But you're probably, like,
great conversations, and I'm like, fuck, like I wish the time, like 3 hours would go by like that because we just got
Yeah,
Great
but you're probably the good at reading that situation.
yeah, exactly.
too.
I read everybody and kind of see where it's going.
Have
and-
you put any more thought into what you told me?
the podcast?
Yeah.
I talked to my videographer about it because he actually brought it up to me the other day. He was like, "Hey, like you should do a podcast." He had a slightly different idea. I was like, "Well, I was thinking about doing a podcast of like interviewing clients. Like,
Yeah.
if we're both mic'd up while you sit in the chair,
Oh, that's brilliant.
and then I'm like, just had to, especially
And you-
longer sessions. You're like, if you're there for over an hour, we both mic you up, put on like set up the camera,
Yeah.
film it, and then like it's just kind of like a kind of similar to what we're doing now.
Yeah,
but,
literally.
like, I generally have a certain set of questions I ask
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
every client when I
Right.
sit down with them. And then like, you know, we get into cool stuff. Like I said, I've tattooed like undercover cops and like people with really cool, like
Their
jail
stories.
guards,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, different cool jobs. And it's like, I love, like half that's just
stories.
I'm like, so tell me all about your fucking job. Cause
Yeah.
like, I only know my world because
Right.
that's all I know. Right. Like,
Right.
What
Man,
was
that's a brilliant idea.
What was his
seriously.
twist on it? How is his different than yours?
his was like an interview questions like with the artist. He's like, oh, maybe you should like interview like
Other tattoo
other
artists?
like tattoo artists in your shop and stuff like that. And I was like, well, hey, there's not that many. So like,
No, it'd be cool to
Right.
do your clients.
But
That's
then,
like,
you could, but you know, I've tattooed people at my shop too. So like, you know, who's to say like, say my apprentice, like I have like several tattoos on the go with her.
Yeah.
Like, she could sit in the chair one day and I
Yeah.
can still do a podcast
Yeah,
with
yeah.
her. But you know, I think just that structure is kind of cool. And
I think it'd
original.
be super cool.
That's yeah. You should do it
And
for
then
sure.
then you'd get to
and
know
then
different
even
clients.
if the people want to talk, some of them might not want to do it, right?
Well, that's what I mean. You ask who
Right.
wants to do it. I've, you know, if you do like, I don't know, I tattoo maybe like 6 to 8 people a week.
Yeah.
No, more than that. Maybe 8 to 10 people a week. You know, if 8 to 10 people, 2 of those people want to talk,
Right.
out of all of them, that's still 2 podcasts a week.
I think it's
Right.
like even the same aspect in like 20 minutes in, you're like, hey, are you going? It's like, you don't even change anything about the whole process. It's just like, because you can cut, if there's dead air, you can cut it out. Like there's,
Well, yeah, exactly.
it's not like there has to be a conversation going all the time.
The whole time, yeah. And like you set it up and you're like, hey, do you mind being mic'd up for this? And then like literally, the only extra step for me in the process is just putting a mic on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm just still doing my job. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
So it's not really like an extra thing.
You know what I'm just thinking of now? I'm sure there's a way to get it out. You know what this might be you should ask or whatever, is like the buzzing might be.
No, the mine's silent.
It's got a silencer on it.
Yours doesn't, is mine
No.
just like completely.
Yeah, you're
old school?
associating like
Yeah.
the sound of like what an old school shop is.
Really? So when
there's
you're
no
going-
noise at the shop at all.
No way. I can't even imagine that in my head right
Everybody
now.
at the shop uses like a rotary pen, so there's no buzzing.
So
if you
what's-
hear buzzing when you're there, it's the clippers from the barber shop. And that's like not like anywhere near the microphone. That's like in another room.
Is it just like a vibrate or not even?
No, I can't feel anything.
So
Wow,
I don't
that's
think it
trippy.
would-
You're
I know,
thinking
I'm
of, like,
just-
like yeah. If you go to like
Yeah.
like an American traditional shop, often like old school shops, yeah, they all have coil machines and they make that. Like,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
kind of like it's based off an old what's it called, doorbell. It's kind of like the technology.
Interesting. Yeah, that's funny
Right.
that I just made that.
But yeah,
So then
your
you're
brain's
good.
filling in the blanks,
Yeah.
right? Because like that's what it used to sound like. But yeah, it doesn't sound like that anymore.
Yeah, then you'd
Been in
be
the chair
good.
several times.
I know. I just can't
It's-
like.
yeah, it's quiet.
You know, he should have just brought one here. Just like we have a podcast here. Just put like
he was saying that about the.
He's gonna come May on the. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
in the 10-year Showtime.
Yeah.
We'll have a big party here in May.
Oh shit.
And he'll come.
banging some up here.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just like even right now, it's just like shit. He literally could have brought something, just like what we talked. Just like, all right, who's like, just put something on us, anything small,
Yeah.
whatever.
All right, you do him then. But like that'd be cool.
Are they rusty?
If you do like I think that would be. I'm sure. Have you done that before at places?
I've done like guest spots and stuff. Never like pop ups like that.
Is
but-
it? What are the biggest issue? Like, as long as
think,
your
like-
shit's in the areas clean, it's pretty much
Yeah,
good
I mean,
to go.
I would keep it like low key.
Yeah.
I mean, this is on a podcast. But I mean,
No, but it'd be like-
keep it low key. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I think the health board would just be like, you know, if I was doing like an official event or something like
Yeah,
that,
no.
I would maybe like talk to the health board prior. But again, because everything's wireless now, right?
Yeah.
I just gotta like, it's like having a
Right.
drill. So it's like as long as it's charged, I can literally do a tattoo anywhere now at
Yeah.
this point, right?
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
As long as you bring like your proper stuff with
Yeah,
you
yeah.
and
That'd be sick.
bandages
So
and stuff.
we're gonna
Yeah,
do
you're good to
that.
go.
Yeah, it's just like a little pop up here, and just. I mean, you did one. When did you do one on Halloween or something? It was like a small little pop up for like a charity.
we did like a charity flash day,
Right,
certain
yeah.
designs and stuff.
Right.
We will definitely do it. We'll set it up and on whatever. That'll be cool.
Yeah, we bring up a little like foldable
Yeah,
massage bed or
yeah.
something like that. Hey, you guys got them downstairs
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
don't you, for
Right,
the
yeah.
massage beds?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's lots of options. But that'd be cool. Just
How many
do
you
like
think?
small things.
How many so far people ballpark? You have a number you tattooed? Thousands?
Do you have a number of
I've
hours?
been tattooing. Well, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's do the math here, just real quick.
Like, cause I was like curious, cause he's like,
Doing like
I do like 8 a week, so just like,
say like 40 hours a week is a typical work week.
Yeah.
And times that by what, 52 weeks a year?
Yeah. Times
40 times 52, 2,000, and then times that by 13. 27,040 hours. That's a lot of tattoos.
yeah.
divide that by 24.
Why 24?
Yeah, why 24?
Because a day is 24. So how many little days you were tattooing people just like without? Because like think about it, it's like he literally did like so many days of just tattoos. Like I mean that's a lot.
Days
of 27
in a row type of thing.
Well,
It'd be like
yeah.
Well, divided by 24 is 1,126.
so
days.
it'd be in a row. But and then what's an average session? It's probably hard to say. I mean, you'd have an
my
average somewhere. Like
Yeah, my average, I think, my average session would probably be like 3 or 4 hours.
really. So then divide that by 3 or 4, and that would be the amount of people maybe.
Like typically, I usually do like a 4-hour session and a 2-hour, like 2-3 hours in a day. That's generally my average day.
What's the longest you've you've done? Would you in the past go for?
The longest I've probably ever done is like 6.5 hours. Straight. There's guys I know that like have done way longer. Like I hear about it all the time. Like, oh, I sat 10 hours, 12 hours, and it's just like I don't like. Good on the client because like you're fucking
That's
super
intense.
painful.
Yeah.
Right.
And then but B is like it's got hard on the tattoo artist. Like my back's killing me after that period of time. It's also like
does the focus start fading
that's
away?
the big thing for me
Right.
is the focus. Like I feel like my work would start to like
Without like
quality
getting
would get like it's like anything. You can't do anything for
for a longer time.
if you're
'cause it
like
just-
laying flooring or whatever. If you do lay flooring for like 13 hours,
Right.
bet you that last hour those boards aren't going in as good as
Right.
the first hour.
unless you get drugs involved.
right? Guess you get drugs.
No, but I'm sure
Cold
some of those
tub.
guys take stuff for like long duration.
Oh,
Yeah,
for
maybe.
pain.
Yeah, it's probably-
concentration.
I'm
Oh,
sure there's
concentration,
definitely tattoo artists out there doing a little bit of blow and doing some late night hours and
Yeah.
or like Adderall and stuff.
Yeah, that's more what I was thinking. But
Yeah, no, I haven't.
yeah.
I
I
haven't
mean, that's
dabbled
not.
with that.
That's not.
You got the cold plunge, man. That's all you need.
Yeah, there you go. Cold
Right.
plunge, and then I'll do the late night session.
What's the biggest longest hours on a single piece? Is it
On a yeah.
Like you mean like
or how many who has the most hours?
I have like a couple clients where I've done almost their whole body, like or 3/4 of it. So I mean, like a back piece, 2 sleeves, and a leg.
And that's what 100 hours.
Like
Less,
a back piece
more?
probably be about 25, 30 hours. The sleeve is probably 15.
Yeah.
20 hours. So
Yeah, mate. That's
Well, it
crazy.
depends how complex it is.
yeah, again,
right?
it really
yeah.
depends on the complexity, right? Like you're doing American traditional sleeve. You could probably bang that thing out, in 10,
Yeah.
10, 15 hours, but if you're doing like full black and gray realism, then, you're
Yeah.
looking at a lot longer, right?
What is
Depends
your
on what everybody
what is your
wants.
preference? Like, do you enjoy
Now
a
it's
certain?
black and gray realism. Like when I started, it was like doing very simple or more simple stuff. And like at that time, everyone was getting color tattoos, and I did like color and like more like bold, simple stuff. Like I guess you'd call it more traditional, or, neo-traditional. But now it's like over the years, I've just kept putting more and more detail in my work, and now I'm just like kind of going back to what I did in like art school, where it's like a lot more realistic stuff.
But you can just translate it over to
Yeah, you
your
got
work
you
more.
got to make it work with as a tattoo, right? But I just find you can put way more detail in things if it's black and gray rather than if it's color. I think it just holds up better over time.
Yeah. You first, yeah, right.
But definitely over the years, I've definitely pushed it more towards black and gray realism, which is where I'm at now. But I mean, I'll still do color pieces.
Yeah.
It's just a preference or a direction, I guess, that one works in.
Cool. You ever travel? Go to like different events or
I've
like go to like
done-
places that are
Yeah, I've done guest spots in Vancouver and Newfoundland, and where else have I done guest spots? Virginia, a couple places.
That's weird.
I don't really enjoy it as much as I used to. Like now it's like when I was young, I was like I wanted to get my name out there and I was hungry and like. But now it's like I'm working so much at the shop now, especially being an owner.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm working 6 days a week, if I'm traveling, I want to go have fun now and just take in where I'm going to.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
I'd rather take that week off and not think about work.
Yeah.
Literally think about work 24/7. Like,
Yeah.
Which is like the big, I guess, adjustment as the last few years being like a business owner. Is like, I don't ever leave my job. Like today, even before work, I checked my phone maybe like 30 times because I had like openings in my schedule and I'm like answering emails to try to fill these spots because if I don't fill them, I don't get paid. So
Right.
Fill these 2 or 3 spots I had open this week. And
well, that's the
people are
business
messaging me
owner, right?
like with this idea, but they haven't booked in yet and said anything solid. And it's like I gotta kind of filter out like who's actually serious about getting tattooed. Or is this guy just bouncing ideas off me? And like, so like it was like, and then that takes time just going back and forth over email.
Right.
And like that's like I don't get paid.
You don't get paid for that.
That's
Yeah,
just,
of course. Yeah.
That's just my time. So it's like everything's just like. You're constantly working even when you're not working. Right?
But do you enjoy it, like owning your
exactly,
own shop?
Yeah,
Like,
at the end of the day, it's. Like,
would you rather that?
like,
Yeah, same. Like I know the brainer, but like even doing that a couple years now, like would you like it better that
to,
way?
like, working for somebody. Not at this point where like, I like having.
Do you like that like hustle side of it too?
Yeah, definitely.
Though,
Yeah,
right?
I think what is it? What do they say about idle hands? Like it's like it keeps you out of trouble. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I like working a lot. Kids or anything. So.
Yeah.
And I love tattooing, so
Get sick of it.
Can't imagine.
Well, I mean,
if I had too much free time, I don't know what I would do with it all. You know what I mean? Probably just do more artwork, but then I wouldn't be getting paid for it, so I might as well be tattooing. So.
Yeah.
Do you draw sometimes just for fun?
Yeah, a little bit, but not as much as I used to. Like now, it's like that's the hardest thing that I think sucks about tattooing now is like because I'm doing artwork for like 8 hours a day, so I'd be like, the last thing you want to do when you get off work on a weekend is like
go draw.
Let's go do more artwork. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like this is was the same thing with like a contractor. Like my dad would always say like, oh, I just worked all day. I can't wait to come home and if like my mom at the time wanted to
it's like
house or something like that. Yeah, like. Oh, now I got to go home and build another deck?
Fuck, I don't want to come to the gym because I'm going to have to put lights up.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to go to the gym. He's like,
this is exactly it.
He's like, what are you doing, man? I was like, man, I don't know, man. I'm very VR. He's like, you want to go upstairs? Just like put out a couple lights?
I got some things you can do. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's that kind of thing. And I feel guilty about it sometimes because, I think that, again, going back to social media, it's like you see all these guys pumping out, you feel like you're not in competition. You try not to be like, oh, I'm my only competition, and as long as I'm better than yesterday, like that's all that matters. But at the end of the day, like especially with the industry growing, it is a competition, right? Like there's only so many people that want to get tattooed, so it's like, you do kind of like compare yourself to other people, and then you're like, oh, well, this person's putting out like all these paintings, all this time. Like, when do they have time or the motivation to do it? And then you feel like hard on yourself, but then like. There's so many factors, who knows how busy they are at actually tattooing. So maybe they have more time during the day.
And you need balance too, right? It's like,
that's just it, right? And
you need balance because otherwise, like, the last thing you want is like to just have like a burnout and just be like, F this, like,
not enjoying
like,
and that's another thing too, is like, I hate like forcing myself to do it as well, right? Because like, certain things that discipline's good for, but like, I mean, I don't feel like art is necessarily one of them. Like, you do need to be disciplined if you want to like excel, I think. But like after a certain point, like I don't know. I don't want to.
There's no point to do it unless you're enjoying it.
I don't want to like sit down at night and like force myself to like draw stuff if like I'm not getting paid for it. You know what I mean? Like, Like why? Like, and I'm not going to enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I've had like a lull, like vacation sometimes, like if I take like a week and a half off, sometimes then I'm like, oh, like I haven't drawn in a while. I'm going to do this for fun. Or like, Christmas break's coming up. Maybe I'll do some drawing or painting over that time. But
do you notice that like maybe not like however it would like translate into like tattooing, but drawing, like if you take a week off or 2 weeks off, is there like if you don't use it, do you lose it a little bit? Like obviously it's like super minimal,
super quick, but 100%. Like actually the other night I was laying in bed and I was working on a realism piece, and then like typically if it's like super like realistic, you're essentially just copying a photo, right?
Yeah.
So my wife actually called me out because I draw in bed a lot. She's like, are you gonna like draw that? And I was like, well, I'm gonna copy this photo. Like that's what the client wants. And then she's like, oh, but like why don't you just draw? Like, are you like draw it out?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I haven't drawn from like life.
Yeah.
Like, in a while, like I did it all the time in college. Used to do like, like what do they call it? Like life drawing. Like we have a nude model up in front of the stage, and you got to draw from life and stuff like that. And we used to do all that stuff all the time. And I was like, fuck, I haven't done that in a long time. And I'm like, maybe we should do it right now. And she's like, what do you mean? So I drew her, like she's scrolling on her phone.
Yeah.
Like a TikTok. And then I spent like 15 minutes drawing her just from life.
Yeah. And did it work?
On her phone. Yeah. Like, I mean, it was like rusty. Like it definitely was not as good as like,
if you had been doing
if I was like doing it like all the time, or like, I could recreate it a lot better if I was like working from a photo.
That would be cool picture.
Just from the like life thing, and I showed it to her, and she was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So like, it is like a skill set, but it's like a skill set that you can, like you don't use it as much, you would lose it, right? But in terms of like, I don't know, again, because I'm doing art every day. Like, I think the drawing aspect is like what you lose, but like what I've lost maybe in the drawing aspect, I've kind of gained in like the realism aspect. So now it's like putting tones in certain spots to make it look realistic.
Yeah,
so.
That's pretty cool.
Are you sometimes like looking for like challenges? For example, it's like, oh, I would love to do a tattoo or a drawing.
I mean, that happens all the time with like, like cover ups. So that's like a big thing. Like I did a cover up yesterday, and it's like those are challenging, and it's like they're the jobs that like a lot of people don't want to take on, but like, and they can be a pain in the ass. But then if like you pull it off and it looks really good, it's really rewarding, and then the client's super happy because it's like you're taking something that kind of either look like shit or whatever and turning it into something
sick.
Again, like same thing with like anything like renovations. Again, like somebody had came in and did a botched tile job, and then you like come in and like redo the floor, and they're like, oh my god, it looks so much better. It's like or
I want to get this covered up.
Where's that?
There's no day but today. Got this in grade 9.
Grade 9?
Yeah, probably pretty close to that.
I didn't even started getting tattooed till I was 17. I hear of all these stories about people getting tattooed when they're like 14 or 15. I don't know. You can figure it out.
I just don't like the idea of just something right here.
I mean, if you turn it into like something bigger, there's definitely lots of
This would have to be all around. Like I don't like the idea of just
typically like when you do a cover up, it's got to be like you're going like
big piece.
A couple sizes bigger than what
like it would have to be this whole chunk and everything.
Unless you're like literally like
just do
covering
like a
it up
sleeve.
with black.
Yeah, exactly.
Just straight black over it. Now it's black. It's covered.
Is that popular these days? Like just people going black?
Blackout, yeah. Like what you got? MGK just did that, right?
That's wild.
What's the like biggest? Do you do any of that stuff?
I've done like chunks of blackout, but I've never done like a full.
Is it a particular skill?
Like, I mean, you have to be able to like saturate the solid black. So like that's a basic skill that everybody should have.
Like for me to marker out something in Sharpie seems really easy.
Like, so like to tattoo it is definitely a skill, but then it's even like a bigger skill when you're getting into like such a like large scale of it, right? Like doing a large scale of any solid color or like tone
because it could be different,
more challenging.
Like it could be.
Because you got to stay super consistent with like your hand speed and just the motions.
Otherwise, there'll be one spot darker than the other.
And stuff like that, right? So and that's
so it would be challenging though, right?
Yeah, it's super challenging. A lot of times you see these blackouts that do look really good. That's not just one pass. It's typically coming back for touch ups and stuff like that because it is very difficult to get that.
Do you have anything of that?
No, I don't have any of that.
Have you ever tattooed yourself?
Oh yeah.
You have?
I tattooed my kneecap during COVID.
Oh shit!
With spider web on it.
That's it.
That's it. That's all on my kneecap.
No, like
on yourself. I tattooed on myself. No, I tattooed that. What else I tattooed? Just like little tattoos.
Yeah.
I did like a couple little ones on my hand, just because like it's easy to reach.
Yeah.
When I was learning a tattoo, I tattooed myself, but nothing like.
What's the most recent one you have on yourself?
A 9 on my cheek. Whatever side.
That one, yeah.
That was a new one. I got Let Go. I don't know what side that's on.
That's
Yeah. My face tattoo.
That's hilarious. You probably would get like
probably the newest
confused.
ones, yeah.
So
I
it
haven't
just
got anything big in a long time. Like,
Okay.
Because I don't have really
Well, yeah, I was gonna
space
say,
left.
where else are
space
you gonna
left,
go?
I have a big back piece, so I'm gonna go down to the States and get worked on in the summer.
you have a particular artist you usually look for, the ones
That's
you get
doing my
tattooed?
back piece. Yeah, I have an artist. She lives in New Zealand, so she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go visit my husband's family in the States in the summer." So she's like, because I messaged her and I was like, "No, I don't."
Is that
New
she did it so far?
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
done everything so far, and like it's been, I think COVID happened.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
years since I've had it work done. So I was like, now that I'm like kind of like settled down and with the new shop and everything like that, I was like, it'd be a good time to work on it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I can fly to New Zealand. Like that's such an expensive trip.
Yeah,
to get
for
tattoos.
sure.
So she said she'll be in the States, and I was like, well, just drive to Detroit, fly
Maybe
fly
make a
over,
trip out of it.
wherever she's at in the States, and go up there for 5 days or whatever, and get tattooed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did I tell you, talk about flying to the States? This is another change of subject.
No, that's good.
Did I tell you that we're doing one of those high rocks things?
Oh, are you doing it with Robbie? I saw him post like, "Oh, who's going to High Rocks March or whatever it is, 2025?"
No, he never tells me anything.
April.
Is it April? That's what it was.
April.
You doing it with Robbie, or is that just a
That's pretty close to Iron Man, buddy.
It's 2 months, so it's perfect time. Yeah, I don't know what we want to do. Yeah, I don't know really what. He's like, would you contemplate doing it from Showtime?
Yeah.
I was like, I was just at F45 and there's like 100 people there, like all like getting information about it and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I was like, I don't want to do that type of shit, but I'll get like 4, like if you do a relay team, it's 4 people. Maybe have one female team, 1 male team. But then you're like 4 people. Like you gotta like, that's not something you just like ask who wants to. Like I don't want to have to like
No,
cut people. You know what I
do you
mean?
mean?
Like you would have to like.
you want to make sure like they're all gonna like compete at
Well,
a certain level.
Yeah, like I
And
mean, it's
also,
only
like,
4 people, so like
committed,
me and
though.
you are in, and then if Rob brought it up, that means we have room for 1 more person. Like, you know.
well, I'm automatically in.
But I don't know. It'd be cool. I don't know. It's
But-
kind of like
Those
something to like.
competitions,
We've been doing.
I've never
those.
done anything like that. So
I do like a relay.
I was watching it like to see watch how it's done. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, we could do this. I was looking at the weights they use and like
Really?
what they do, and I was like,
yeah, the High Rocks is what it's like. Usually like what run a mile and then
it's run a kilometer.
a kilometer.
So it's
Are we running on a treadmill or like one of those things?
No,
or are
like
we,
around-
free running around
Like
a
the
block.
track, probably.
around wherever wherever it is.
So it's like run a kilometer, do like an activity.
And that's what we've
Do
been
an
training
activity.
like that.
We've been doing this
Oh,
for,
okay.
yeah,
for a little bit, but we've been running half a kilometer instead of a kilometer, so we kind of suck
which is
there.
fine. I mean, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But it's like it's a start.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we switch from like running, so we do one that's like running, and then sometimes we just do one
Which is
that's
good for
assault
you guys.
bike.
Like, you guys are big boys to be like doing all the like running and stuff like that. Is like
Yeah,
that's like
I mean, for me at the beginning it was tough because
So
I
it's-
never used to run.
yeah.
So it's
See, I run all the time, but I'm a slow runner. Like I do.
But
not
that's
push my
okay though.
speed
But like,
ever.
what you have a pace that you run at that you're like okay, and you what do you go for 5, 10 sometimes?
Yeah, like I usually do around 5 on average, and then if I'm pushing it, maybe 7.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've done a 10.
So
I have
Right.
done 10.
it's
but
run, okay. The ski erg,
Okay,
1,000 meters.
I've never used that. so
Yeah, I
have
know,
to,
but
like,
still, like
figure
we
it
do
out.
the compare it to the bike and shit, right? Like okay, so it's ski erg, run, sled push,
like weight wise,
Yeah,
like and how far?
50 meters.
50-meter sled push. Okay, that's
Sled pull,
so sled pulling backwards. Okay,
burpee. You know that burpee one? So it's 80 meters.
you fucking burpees and then go.
I
run a
hate
fucking
like that's
kilometer?
like
and then
fucking
and this is
burpee,
all
man.
in,
That's
running in between each one.
Yeah, it's rounds, right?
Yeah, like we do.
yeah.
And
So
then rowing,
yeah. Rowing, okay.
and
I
then
can deal with
farmer's
that.
carry.
Farmer's carry,
It's
okay.
this is all one fucking workout though.
Yeah, this is like you.
guys train like this all
not
days?
these workouts, but like I'd argue harder. I'd argue what we do with weights and like because we'll do this format, but do like 50, 75 deadlifts, 50 or 75 like, you know, lat pull downs, and then run in between each
like
one of
75. That's a lot. That's
like straight. I mean, obviously, like I if you have you break, you take.
I'm
a
not
break
saying
as
this
much
isn't
as-
hard. This is hard, but we've been training right, and then farmer's carry, and then sandbag lunges. So it's like with a weight.
How big is how much?
It
is
was
the weight?
all like reasonable.
It was all
Yeah.
reasonable.
And then wall balls.
Wall
so
balls
it's like
are the
kind of-
one that like
you
we
bounce-
squat and
yeah,
then
so-
bounce. Okay.
It's kind of like CrossFit, but kind of not.
Like yeah, like this would be hard.
So like,
but don't get me wrong.
But like for that concept right there, so if you do a relay, how would it work?
so everyone's got to do 2.
Oh, okay. So you pick 2.
Yeah.
I don't do burpees, so cut me out.
Yeah, you just go to your strong
That's
suit.
one
like-
thing that I don't like. I do not like burpees.
So
I
it definitely, I'd have to get like a bunch of new equipment,
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to try the
Put in your equipment.
like the ski erg.
the skier.
You don't have one of those here?
No, that's the thing where you pull it down.
Yeah.
No, I wish. What are you thinking of?
Oh, must, I don't know.
No,
I thought it was right here.
I'd need a rower, which I should have got a long time ago.
Yeah. I'm just
See,
thinking of
like,
CrossFit.
see-
I think it's
see-
because I'm thinking of the CrossFit
see-
gym. I was like,
Like that would
see
be
people use
sick.
these all the time, but no, that was like years
I guess
ago.
that's really it. The ski erg and a rower. Farmers carries, sandbags, sleds,
Wall balls, all that
burpees,
stuff you
wall
guys do
balls.
here.
Yeah. So
We
so
can like
maybe not a lot.
we can do all of those. I mean, we're confident enough that we can do all
And I mean,
the
like, it's just
exercises.
conditioning. So realistically, like, I mean, yeah, practicing on an actual rower would be better, but I mean,
Right.
Rower's
if your
something that
conditioning's good. Like, I think
And
you'd be able
you
to
get
handle
like a
it.
technique down, right?
yeah,
with
you
the
get
rower,
power.
right?
Like that's where you really start to like perform. Like
Right.
I'd want to. I rower in particular. I've wanted to get, and like people have wanted me to get for a long time. So that's definitely something. Even the skier, like I'd get one of those.
And the skier doesn't take up too
No,
much
it's-
space.
it's
just
small.
It just gets the-
yeah. Even if you get rid of that pull machine like behind
Yeah,
the
you
door,
gotta
like
do it
and
in
just
there.
put a skier in there,
True.
right?
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea.
Yeah, what is that thing behind the?
It's just like a
Assisted
assist pull up.
Oh, assisted pull.
It's like another
Yeah.
one. It just doesn't get you. Like I've been trying to sell it for a long time. Actually,
But yeah, you're right though. I mean,
Yeah.
I would be down definitely if we do like a relay. Like to do all of those at once though, that's a little bit
Yeah,
That's what I'm
pushing
saying.
it.
That's a lot of.
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard, but
Right.
doing 2 is like now you're going to like we're going to like you got to do things to do. Like you better fucking be good at them. Like I feel like if we did a
If we
relay,
do a
I'd be
relay,
like,
you
we
can't
gotta
suck.
win this.
Yeah, you gotta
Not
fucking
win, but, like-
you gotta go.
Yeah, versus
right.
the full one would be.
I understand.
I feel like we'd do this relay and be like, oh yeah, I want to challenge myself and do a full
A
one.
full one. And
'Cause
then it's
then-
like how many do you do? I guess you said
Robbie's
already.
doing
It
like
says-
45
yeah.
stuff, so like he's doing a lot of like more like high intensity training, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
stuff,
it's
right?
distance.
It's all
Is he
distance.
running though?
Like what
No.
about the
Does he
farmers carry? How much weight
Is-
and then distance?
Farmers carries 200 meters. I believe he had a 50 dumbbell or kettlebell in each hand.
Yeah, that's like easy.
I don't. I could be wrong.
See, like that. Certain things are like
Okay, let's
take
see,
a
it's
little
gotta
bit
say
strength
here.
and endurance, but
Sled
then others
push.
take more endurance than strength, right?
It doesn't
But
say.
see, I don't even. But a lot of it's just like reps. So like, does your strength even come into play here? Like you
What?
gotta be able strong enough to be able to do it, but like you don't get any extra points for like. It's not
No,
like,
there's no. You don't. Instead of carrying like 50s, you're not carrying hundreds. For
No.
example, you only
Yeah,
have
yeah, but,
everyone
like-
carries 50s.
But like, it's just like so like in like say CrossFit, it's like do this for max amount of reps,
No.
and you so like this is like you're just doing the assigned thing or you're not doing it. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
pass or not pass.
There's like a different. Like I think the professional category has heavier weights.
Yeah.
Than the like
But-
just the open or something like
but
that.
it's not like you get any extra like. But it's like
No,
in
if,
terms
you,
of, like,
if
strength,
you're like
not,
jacked and 7 feet tall,
You're
you're
not-
just grabbing those 50s like they're.
it'll be easier.
coffee
Yeah,
cups,
but I
yeah.
mean like you're not getting like there's no extra points for like doing more weight or anything.
No, but then you're probably slow as fuck running. So like
Right.
I
so-
think it all may even out.
You gotta be
somewhere
like a
in-
hybrid
yeah.
athlete.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right. That's where it comes into play, right? You have to have like obviously some strength, but also the endurance.
Yeah, none of them
aspect
were
of it.
like overly concerning. I honestly think what the hardest for me personally would be. I think it was like like the lunges with the bag would be one of the harder things.
So I do lunges sometimes with that 45-pound.
Yeah, it might have been a
weight.
50-pound bag. I gotta like.
But that's an
I'm
extra
probably just
5
butchering
pounds,
all
so it's
this.
like I can handle that. And then like how far? And then it's like how clean does it have to, like what are we talking about in cleanness in like a clean rep,
Yeah, they're
right?
gonna say like that one doesn't count.
Well,
Right.
you're not you. Yeah, I mean it's monitored just like anything else. Like they have people on the thing. and
Yeah.
shit. So if you're not doing it right, I think you get told.
Start over.
Start over.
Okay, here we go. So men is the ski erg's 1,000 meters. The sled push is 152
Pounds?
kilos.
152 kilos, so it's like what? Oh shit, that's like almost 300 pounds.
More.
Well, 152 times 2.2.
Yeah, so
320,
20.
Already the wrong
315.
person.
Yeah. Okay, so
Ah,
that's
there's not
heavy,
much
but
strong
that's
steel.
sled. So I got to put that on there and see what it's
But
like
it's,
first.
yeah. And then how far is that sled going? 50 meters?
4 by 12 and a half. So yeah, 50 meters.
Now is there like weight categories? It's just everybody's in the same category.
Men are in the same 152. I'd have to push 3 something, and so would you.
See, that's like that's the crazy part though, right? Because you're like, okay,
Pull is 103 kilos.
225 pounds.
The burpees distance, rowing distance, farmer's carry is 250s, so 100 pounds total.
Which is manageable.
like I feel like it would actually be an advantage with you guys because it's like
Again,
if you're, like,
it is a
lifting-
race though.
if you're lifting like I don't know, you guys both over 200, right? So it's like 50 pounds. It's like
Yeah, but it's
not
a
that much
race.
body
Then
weight.
you go flying past us in the runs.
Yeah.
your legs are a lot longer.
But I can't run like you can't. Smaller guys are going to be able to run longer, faster.
Yeah.
Then
I mean, we'll do like 1 step, but they'll do like 3, but they'll be faster steps.
and then what's it say? Lunges, 20 kg. So that's the bag. That's fine. For some reason I
Fine.
thought, and then 100 wall balls with 6 kilograms. It's nothing. I don't even have a lighter 6
6 kilograms is the 15-pounder, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we
think
don't
it's
even
like
have a
80.
15-pound wall ball. Oh yeah, we
have
do. The
slam-
bouncy
the-
one.
Yeah, but even the slam one that we used, 15-pound slam, that would be one
Yeah.
we could use.
So, like, none of those are like alarming. I guess the push would be the hardest. Sounds like it'd be the hardest.
Pushing the sled, you'd be surprised when you get the
I know,
momentum
I know.
going. You just go, right?
I know. So that's why it's got to be something that's like.
Again, I feel like you guys are big guys. I think that would be like you would push it way faster than like somebody like me.
The sled, maybe.
Yeah, but then once
I think it all evens out,
Once
like-
he says, then you start doing burpees, and then you go, well
Or
I
you're
do
faster
one.
on the rower,
Right.
or the whatever. Or
Yeah.
like, I think it like. Don't get me wrong. I think I think a lot of the people that do it aren't like. Same as like CrossFit. I think the elite guys are like big, jacked, and conditioned.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think that's like.
There's not like any like. Well, some
I don't
of the
know if
guys are
that's, like, the
actually shorter
average.
though, because there's a lot of Olympic lifting in CrossFit. So it's like some of the shorter guys actually do a lot better.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Is I think even in this and like CrossFit, like sure there's those people that are like that,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
most of it kind of falls somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, people in the middle. Yeah, you're right. I suppose. Yeah. It's not like
That would be
boxing
interesting.
Or something like
I
that,
mean,
where it's all
I-
weight class.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested, for sure. Absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to see was
And where's that at?
Miami.
Oh,
Yeah.
I guess we're going to Miami.
And then the Ironman's 2 months later. So I'd basically just condition and strength train up until this, and then basically after that drop strength training and just go.
I don't have to swim. This is great. No swimming involved.
I want to see how much it costs.
I guess you'd have to sign up to sooner rather than later. And this High Rocks is just blown up too. I mean, obviously,
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
new-
it's been
a new
around, but yeah, I see in more and more. You
More
see it
gyms are
around,
doing it,
yeah.
Which I think is going to kill CrossFit because I don't think there's like all these gyms. To be
And I feel
CrossFit
like
affiliates,
CrossFit
you
is
have to pay for
fading.
it. Yeah,
I feel like CrossFit is fading
you
a
have
little
to pay
bit.
for it. There's no like, to train High Rocks, you have to pay for any affiliate program, right?
Right.
So I think that's what really fucked over CrossFit too. Is like everybody wants to be a CrossFit gym has to pay fees a year, right? Which is
Right.
like
When did
you're gonna
that-
charge me to do wall balls essentially.
Right,
you know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah,
kinda
that's
stupid,
true.
right?
That's a good point.
Like I think that's the bad part of the business model.
Yeah.
I mean, I get like right away when it was hype, they made a shit ton of money from it.
Yeah.
But now it's like people are gonna drop off, right? So it's like one of those things that
But yeah, I feel like it's
Miami
fading away.
Beach.
You don't see it much, or you don't see it much around as
I think
much as
I think
High
like
Rocks.
coming from somebody who's did it is like I think it's like. So here's the thing: is like what I found about CrossFit is like it's one of those things that like they claim to be all about like community and all this stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
and like anybody can do it, and it's like anybody can do it, but like when you're there and you're like it's all the workouts are for time or like certain amount of rounds,
Yeah.
and they're like scale it back if you can't do the same amount as a workout.
Yeah.
But then, like, nobody wants to be the last person to finish in a class. Because, like, and even if you are, I know some people, even in good gyms, like, that I was at, like, they'll clap for you and stuff like
Right.
that and make you feel better about it.
Yeah.
But it still feels shitty. You
It
don't want
feels
to be
shitty, yeah.
You don't want to be. Like,
especially if you're like a competitor, right?
yeah, exactly. You don't want to be the
dude,
last
it's
person
not-
to
it's
finish the
cheap.
workout.
It's cheap.
What is it? $500?
No, this doesn't even make sense. $60, men's double, so you can go prices per person plus service fee. So I mean, the max on here per person's $150.
That's actually not bad at all.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be like a couple $100, if not like.
Well,
so-
that's why I was like $500. What is it?
Just the flights, because it's
Yeah, but then I was like, that's what me and Jay were talking about. It's like, you go, okay, flight, okay. You go to Detroit, fly for cheaper than here. And then you just have like, if we go with like 8
Just get an
people,
Airbnb.
Airbnb, yeah.
and then like 8, say there's everyone, you have easily 12 people that like get an Airbnb, and it's like nothing
And, like, actually, the more people you have, the more balling of an Airbnb you have. And
for less price,
Yeah,
even.
exactly.
So that would be cool,
Probably get a place
especially
with,
in,
like, a swimming pool. And
especially
shit.
in Miami.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
So I don't know. I told Rob that I'll just like pursue it until we hit a dead end with it, but
Well, let's get on it. Like who?
I don't know.
Who
You don't want to
we'd
do it,
have
do
to-
you?
we'd have to find- we'd
kind
have
of good, because if he's here when we bring this up and you want to do it, you're kind of like, we're assholes. But basically, like, now we got to find a fourth.
So you, me,
Rob, because Rob, consider him, because he brought it up to me in general.
okay, and then we
Or
do
if
one
there's
more.
doubles,
unless
we could
he's doing
do.
it with the F45 people, I don't know.
No, I don't think so. He asked me if I'd do
Okay.
one through Showtime, like if I'd do it, or we could do doubles, like me and you could do it.
you
we'd
do the
win.
burpees and we're good. Well, I'm good, man.
We'd win.
I think we would crush it.
Yeah. He'd go.
I mean, I don't know, man.
I love your
Like
confidence.
I
I
have
am
no,
not-
like I don't. That's what I mean. It's like we have no idea, right? Like,
I'm
are we
like,
just
over here
fucking
like
talking
that
like?
ball slam thing is a piece of cake. This is a piece. This is a.
But
like,
You
that's
guys make me
one.
feel like I need to start training harder.
that ball
that's
slam
one,
thing was.
though.
What do you mean?
That's like only one exercise going.
Yeah, but
balls
that's
out.
harder. Doing 700 ball slams in and that bike in that time would be harder than doing.
I
any
guess
of
you're
that.
right. I mean, I don't. Yeah.
It's just the fact that you don't. I mean, the relay. The nice thing with the relay is only 2 things, but like
Well, if
you're not
But
in
if
the
we're
relay,
doing
then you're
doubles,
doing
then
it-
we have
it
to do
was
4.
doubles, then it would be 4 each. I feel like that would be a
That
better.
would be
like-
actually pretty sick.
you want to have a
4.
break, right? That's the thing. It's like,
I don't know how it
It's
would
like,
go. I
how
doubt
would
you'd
it-
have a break. I bet you it's either
bet
the
you-
first 4 or the last 4. Like
Yeah,
you can't
so
go on off,
yeah.
on off, on off. I
okay.
don't.
So
I
I
doubt that.
Yeah, so I think that like if we do doubles, the way it work, I would
Start
start
and
from the
finish.
front, and do my exercises. So we say you're gonna do these 4, I'm gonna do these 4, and then boom, we go.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm gonna
I
definitely
don't know, I'm
like,
guessing.
think about it.
I have no idea. I've seen people post that they've done the high rock stuff before, and it's just. I don't know.
Yeah, Emily here's done it, so I'm gonna ask her about it.
I'm gonna ask one of my buddies, Jesse Flynn. He's done it. He's in Quebec, Montreal.
Good for you guys. I can't.
But with like for me, it's like this will be not to downplay it, but it's like the Ironman's in another league as far as difficulty. So it's like a good like.
Do you think the Ironman? Well, yeah, Ironman's way tougher, eh?
It'd be like 7 high rocks in a row.
Is it that much?
Well, I'd say the level of output would be comparable for sure, and you do it like it took me. If you, I think those workouts are somewhere between like.
Because Ironman's just a 3, but it's just longer.
It's 7 hours. It's like okay, it's depending what you do it in, but I'd say my 6 hours.
Yeah, holy shit.
So it would be like doing probably. It would probably be like doing 4 high rocks in a row.
Because this one, you think like you would fly probably through this in like an hour max, tops.
Like 6 out 6. I don't know. I'd be interested to see. Well, think about it. The run is. So how many? I think there's.
So if we do 4 runs, that's 4 clicks right there.
Yeah, what's your
So if we
sprinting
Time
for a kilometer?
Well, that's the thing, right? So it's like, okay, hypothetically, I run.
How many? I just want to see how many runs are in it.
Will be probably 4 runs per 4 exercises.
So 8K total.
So 8K total.
So 8. So the Ironman was 20.
Yeah.
So it'd be, yeah, probably like it would probably level out to 3 or 4 high rocks in a row.
And you only
Like
have,
when you finish an Ironman, you're like, not. Yeah. It's definitely like I'd say 3 or 4x difficult.
I don't know. I guess what like I'm sure there's guys that finish an Ironman and be like, all right, cool, like on to the next one, and they'll do it 2 weeks later, another one, right?
Oh yeah,
Where
there's
some
always
people,
a higher level
right,
of competitive stuff.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
You hear there's that 24-hour, isn't there like that?
Yeah.
24-hour run.
Yeah.
Like fucking David Goggins does or whatever.
But it's almost like it gets harder per athlete as you get better because you have this like insane, like now you're just pushing yourself till you collapse at the end.
Right, because it comes down
as
to you,
fast
right?
as
Because you're
possible.
right. So you're like, all right, I did my time last year this, so
Yeah.
I want to beat my time from last year.
But
Then you
yeah,
just-
it would be cool. It'd be good.
whereas in this is like, how long would it theoretically last? Like,
I think it's an hour.
Is it's a race? So it's like whoever does
Yeah.
it first, like
Yeah.
the fastest, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's the fuck. That would be hard.
Yeah, but it's not like I think that's the difference between like kind of CrossFit and this is like a lot of these movements you're not going to snap your back like you're doing
Yeah, yes.
Olympic movements instead like in
In CrossFit. yeah.
CrossFit you're doing Olympic movements where it's like you're racing through
Well, that's
movements.
kind of like he's like, why were we talking about how like CrossFit's fading out? And I was trying to say is like,
Yeah.
it's like I think it's like how difficult it is. They're saying it's like everybody's welcome and it's functional. For
Yeah.
everyone. I have seen older people do it. If you scale things back and stuff, but it's like it's a lot more high risk or like
Yeah.
if you push yourself to what the assigned workout is, yeah, you can push yourself to a higher limit and complete that. But then typically, at least in my experience, okay, I completed that workout, but now for the next 2-3 days,
Yeah.
I'm so sore.
yeah.
and not
or
even
broke-
sore like
or,
maybe
like, tweak my
actually
back.
injured.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, throw it like, you're doing what
Clean
is it,
and
like,
jerk.
Yeah.
clean and jerks or like
Right.
pull-ups. They're like
Yeah.
Yeah.
repeated ones, and you throw it your shoulder like you don't fuck up your
Yeah.
shoulder doing that, and then it's like fuck. Okay, I completed today's workout, great. But now like next 2 weeks, I'm like can barely lift.
Whereas
anything,
like
I
with
feel like shit,
with the high rocks, I think the risk for like a lot of that just comes down to like pure fucking power output.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
rower, the ski,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
running.
there are guys that are doing CrossFit that are like,
Yeah, for sure.
get back up and like
Oh.
I fucking competed with a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing the next day, and I was like,
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
built different. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
of course, yeah.
I fucking sit on my ass all day for my job. Like, I'm not very mobile, so it's like,
Yeah.
sure, maybe if I took 2 hours out of my day to like
Yeah.
do mobility before I did the class or whatever.
Right, and
But, like,
guys do that. That separates
guys that are like competing, 100%
competing,
do
and
that,
they'll do that every day.
but like
right?
it's not very like I don't think it's very ideal for the average person trying to get in shape. But,
No,
Yeah.
no. Hence why 98% of those people end up with fucked up knees.
well, that's why
or
that's what
something.
we're saying. Like,
Yeah,
why do you
yeah,
see it
yeah.
kind of not as popular anymore? I think it's like it's always going to be popular for the highest level athletes because I do think people that are competing in CrossFit at the CrossFit game level are like some of the best athletes.
Oh,
in the
for
world.
sure. I agree.
Yeah.
Because that is fucking extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you hear the times that they're doing or the amount of weight that they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
exactly. The weights is a huge aspect too and everything.
Yeah, for the average everyday person that just wants to like
Yeah.
look a little bit better. At
Be
the beach.
functional. Yeah.
You know, it's not
Yeah.
necessary whatsoever.
Yeah.
But that's why I think it's kind of perfect. And
If
I think
we
that's
do
why it's so
doubles,
fun.
I think doubles is that would be like a nice little challenge.
That would be sick because then I know me and you would just do it, and then whoever else wanted to join could just figure it out. Not figure it out, but like then I'm not responsible.
You're not
like,
responsible for it, yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, you fucked up, man.
No, kind of, but no.
Yeah, kinda. It's like,
Yo, you're not running today. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And now he's gonna start hassling you on your conditioning.
Your membership's canceled.
Why you not here? You always here. You got to come in.
That'd be cool. So
No, but that's actually pretty sick. Yeah.
When you guys run though, are you running sprints? Or are you guys just running? Now you're probably gonna have to push it to the sprints, right?
both. I've been when we do because we do the 0.5, and they're much different run than if I was going running for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
half marathon type
training for
thing.
the
Yeah.
Ironman, yeah.
Much different. So that's good.
Because it's the output, right? Once again, it's like the output, right?
You gotta
So if
conserve your energy in the
Right.
Yeah,
where This
yeah.
is like
this
Yeah.
one
Gotta
is
get it
burst,
fast
as you
right? You're bursting,
so
and then
that's no problem. Like I'd much rather sprint than do long distance
Yeah.
endurance run.
I mean, you got to run. Compare like you got to do a
But
K here, and then Ironman you got to do 20, right? So it's just like
Even a K though, like that's
K is
that's
K is
tough.
hard.
Like,
Yeah, K is
just
gonna
sprint-
sprinting a K.
or like at least getting a good pace going
Just a
that's
good
maintainable. Like
pace.
that's still quite a
like I struggle even when we do the 500.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
like all right, like I get a good pace, and then you're almost like gassed. So it's like you have to have a plan, obviously, because it's like if you gas yourself on a sprint, how are you gonna do on the exercise?
Well, yeah.
If you gas yourself on the exercise, then you got to do a sprint. So
Well,
it's
you're
like
almost using the sprint as your
rest
recovery.
recovery, yeah.
right.
because like you're pushing that much
'Cause it's like-
because you want to get it done fast, so
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like you just want to get moving, right? So it's like you finish the exercise, so just start running, right? And then just keep speeding up.
When I a couple of times when I did the CrossFit games, that's what like coaches at the time Morgan and were like, don't
use
give
that.
it your all
Yeah.
Right.
off the get go, otherwise you're not gonna be able to like
Yeah, you'll hit the wall.
yeah
And then it's over. Then it's like see you
yeah
later.
you just flew through those and you're light years above everybody else, but guess what?
Yeah.
You'll be walking soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all strategy. Essentially, whatever suits you
You
best.
need to learn to conserve it.
Yeah.
Pace
I guess
yourself.
it's kind of like even now that I'm like learning the boxing or like getting into that.
Yeah.
Same thing is like, you see guys kill it in the first round, and if they knock them out, great. But then if they
They got
burn
nothing
themselves
left
out
after
in
that.
or MMA,
Yeah.
UFC, and you got to go a couple rounds, they start getting sloppy. Or,
That's why I think we're at an advantage because we've been doing a lot of that higher intensity stuff. So it's not like
But
we
so
haven't-
has everybody else though that wants to do this shit too.
Yeah, but
Like, and then it's like, sure, I understand what you're saying. I get your point, but it's like, let's say, we do this. Now it's like the whole focus is gonna be tailored to this. Like the exercises, everything else. It's like I'm not gonna start going heavy weights now anymore. It's like fuck that. So I'm just gonna go and
Focus on
continue
training
focus
for-
on
there
the
could be a
training.
mix of both.
Yeah, I'll do like a month versus like 2 months, right? And then, but no, it'll be interesting to see.
oh, and then also this would be your first time competing, where there's
You have no
if it's
idea.
in Miami, there's going to be guys that are probably been doing high rock since they fucking invented it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Obviously, I
but
don't
it's
actually
like
think
it's
you'd
curious to
win
me.
or
It's like
anything.
where
but
we would like
where would you
would
fall
fit
into
in.
that? Yeah.
How-
Right,
how much,
like at what are
What
we
level,
average? Are we just we suck? You know what I
It is
mean?
interesting to see the numbers at the very end, right?
Right.
Going back to the CrossFit, you're how many fucking people enter the CrossFit games, and then you're like, oh, this person, even if you fall 52, you're like, how many fucking people entered this competition?
Yeah.
I'm number 52 out of,
yeah.
100.
1,500.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's pretty fucking good,
No, I stand by it. I think we're accustomed.
Don't get
to-
me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not confident, dude.
Like, gentleman's bet. How well do you think you're gonna do then? Like,
I'm just
like,
trying
what are
to
you
be
predicting?
humble, I guess. That's what I'm trying to.
I don't know. Fuck. I
Like
wonder.
top 20? You think you're gonna finish top 20?
Well, how many people are
Yeah,
competing?
that's the thing.
I would imagine a lot.
Let's say if it's
Pretty popular
100,
thing.
dude. If it's 100 people and we finish top 20, I'm like, we fucking killed it.
Let's see. How
If
many-
it's, I don't know, 1,500 people and we go top 20, crazy.
Yeah.
So the more people, obviously, and the closer you get, better it is. I don't want to finish last.
I'm picturing like a run. So like, you know, like if you do like a 10K, there's fucking hundreds of people there.
Right. Yeah. That's So it's like the whole like layout. I guess I'd have to Google it and see how, or like YouTube. There you go. That's something I would look up on the YouTube. It's
Yeah,
like
100%, yeah.
and see how it goes. Like what the layout is, how it works,
Listen to some
how
interviews from
how structured it is.
fucking ex people that have like competed or won it.
Yeah,
Is there money involved?
prize money.
I think it's minimal.
You just win pride. See if these,
I mean-
all these athletic competitions start up in the price, more people will be competing.
Yeah,
It's hard to say. This says like some events seeing over 4,000 competitors. So if there's
and then
like-
is there qualifications? Do you have to qualify?
no, but if you go, okay, results.
Because like for CrossFit, did you have to qualify?
No, you gotta
No.
pay. You actually pay them to do the open,
Oh, okay.
which is dumb. But yeah, so you pay to do the open, and then you get to put your stats in, and then you see where you fall, and then from there, if your stats are high enough, then you qualify to go on to the next round.
I see. And it's all over, I guess, worldwide.
Yeah, it's worldwide. So yeah, you got to have a CrossFit coach watch you, like somebody that's
Yeah, I don't know. Like it said 4,000. So like if there's a couple, I'd say maybe 1,000. Say
Sure.
I'd say top. I'd say top 25%,
top 25%.
and then
So
the next
within
time
the
after
first
that,
250.
250.
say 200.
So you think if
And then I think at the next, I'd say as soon as that one's done, I'd be like, have a number where I want to get to.
for the following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
So
like,
you're very
okay,
competitive
top
like that, though.
50.
You're probably thinking the same thing with the Ironman too.
No, I'm not. You know why this is funny? Because this is even just this, how new this is and stuff. It's the first time, like, as an adult, like, as an Ironman, no, there's none of that whatsoever. There's zero racing.
Ironman's just you finish or you
Mentality,
don't.
you
finish.
pace, it's all by yourself. Like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people there is. I'd say, I mean, I don't want to guess, but say like 50-50. Like 50% of the people are there for like,
prove it to themselves.
prove them
that
to
they can do it.
themselves. Like, just make sure you get through the race, fuel properly. You know, like, don't blow out, don't get injured. Like, do it somewhat healthy.
Yeah.
And then the other 50 are like have done it. 50% have like done it and are like trying to like race. But even then, it's probably only for themselves. They're not trying like to race.
trying to beat their time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And
That-
so for me, it's there's no racing involved whatsoever. It's all about like
Just
doing this smart, doing this like getting as little damage as possible, making sure I finish, and there's that. So I think being like having done more
Done-
competitive things in the past,
Yeah.
this thing in particular, especially with how we've been training,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
It's
I know,
appealing. Like,
I
for
could
me,
for
it's
1
appealing.
hour, I can go. I'd like to think as hard as
possibly can because it's like that's it.
as
right?
long as the
Yeah.
top 10% like can go.
cool,
For
yeah.
me it'd be running. Like I suck at running, so I just have to really focus on improving my running time. But I think that like as far as like wattages go and like putting out effort, I think I think
Like for
a lot
example
of
with the
people
rower,
don't.
right? You just let's go, and I love that shit.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's like ball slams. Let's go, right? So it's just like you want to go and get that output.
I think
I hate that stuff.
yeah, but we've just been like suckers
Like wall balls and fucking burpees and all that stuff. Man,
Yeah,
I guess
yeah.
conditioning is what it is.
so that thing
Right.
on the
That stuff's
board,
fucking
right? That's
hard.
700. So it was 40 minutes.
Yeah.
We're seeing how many ball slams you could do and how many miles on the bike
On the assault bike.
you could
on
do.
the assault bike.
Yeah.
So assault bike and ball slams,
I mean, that's going to get your conditioning way up. Just
40 minutes.
40 minutes, as much as you can do in 40 minutes of either one. So
you start, you do X amount of ball slams. You're like, all right, I'm done with the ball
you just got
slams.
to rack up the
Yeah,
highest
just see
number
how
in
you
each
and
one.
just rack up the numbers.
And
That'd
it was
be a
he
cool
did-
challenge.
he
I'd be
did-
curious to
we
do that,
did
but
we did
that's-
it downstairs. It's on
yeah.
the board. So he did 700 ball slams and like 8 miles on the bike.
On the bike.
And that will be harder than anything. I
think
guarantee
so, because like after that, like
to put
I
in perspective
was.
how amateur I am. I was training my boxing coach the other week, and he had me on the assault bike, and it was trying to get max amount of calories in I think it was 1 minute.
Yeah.
Max calories 1 minute. Go as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And then he told me how much the owner of the gym got. Well, he's in the UFC and stuff like that. Like he does this usually, so try to aim for that number. And then I did I got like within like 20% of his number, so I didn't feel too bad.
Yeah.
Can't remember how many calories it was, but I almost fucking passed out. I threw up.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like literally.
So
I was,
that's
like,
the
first
thing,
time I
right?
felt like
Next
I was
time you want to try something or are in the mood to do it, do the ball slam bike.
40 minutes.
So 40 minutes on your watch. Get the 15-pound ball
Yeah.
and put it next to the bike,
bike, yeah.
and slam until you want, bike until you want, slam until you want, bike until you want.
Does it ever feel like there's a break? No.
No, there's never. It's you
For me,
can't like
I
when
had-
you'll see the numbers.
Yeah.
So get the board out,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so I'll show it to you tomorrow whenever you're in
Yeah.
there. And so you have a ball slam category and a bike category. If you do so,
Every time you stop, you just start.
you go 50 ball slams.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to the bike now. How much bike did I do? 1 mile, 51, and you just
Are
add
you
it up at the
resetting
end.
the bike when you get off?
Sometimes
it does it automatically, and the bike
Okay.
that I use, just to clarify, because we had this problem our first round when we did it. He did it on the bike that's where the
you got to use the black room bike.
yeah, you got to use the black room bike. I like that's the one I used at the beginning, and then he's like, "Well, fuck, you know,
using the
like
one
use
down
the
the
other
main
one
room?
It's
down
way
there,
harder.
right?" So I think the one over there, you'll get like I find it that it gives
It's
me a better
accurate to your output.
Yes.
Whereas this one's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but either way, just put a timer on and go back and forth and do it.
It'd be an interesting thing. I got a assault bike at home. I could even do it at home.
Yeah.
It's
and then this is the the wild part about the fact is that I couldn't do that on any given day.
No.
Right? You
it took
have
me
to
out
be-
for like a week or 10 days.
I had to be in a
4 minutes
mood.
is a long time.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
But then you would think so once you start seeing the number ticking down and you're like, oh, I'm only at like, I don't know, like
Try
300
it,
or whatever, right? So it's like,
Yeah, I'll try.
just it
I
doesn't.
did-
You don't have to go insane.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
do it and then see what you end up
Yeah,
and
with-
compare it to the
Yeah, yeah.
others on there.
Oh my god.
it's interesting because I never thought anything about it until I did it the first time. And I was like, all right, like he said, let's do it. And I was like, I came in, it was a Saturday. I came in and I was like, I'm not doing this today. Then I came in the next day on Sunday and I was like, all right, let's
You were in the mood
crush
to do
it.
it.
Yeah, I
And
was
he
in the
did
mood.
it. And I talked to him that morning. He goes, man, I'm like white. I feel like I'm going to pass
yeah.
out. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I went later that afternoon and did it and was like 100 ball slams behind him or more and
Yeah.
a couple miles behind him. And I'm like, what? Like
You're going.
I couldn't have gone harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't even touch you. And then he did it again and did like 150 more ball slams on the first time and more time on the bike. And I'm like,
Yeah.
makes no sense to me.
Man, I've never seen you guys. I'm never here when you guys are training.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've
you'd
seen
be
sometimes on the
surprised.
weekend or whatever, but it's like, yeah, I mean,
Every time I'm in here, I've only seen people like just like basic body. Bodybuilding kind of style training. I've never seen anybody do anything
Yeah.
high intensity ever.
Really?
The only time I've seen any crazy stuff is when Steph's in and she's doing
Yeah. No,
gymnastics.
there's like
Yeah.
there's a bun like
it all depends
yeah.
when you go,
I think
right?
it's just you might hit that pocket because
That-
there's
yeah, like that. I mean, like usually like 9:30, 10 o'clock.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it's
Emily comes in she does a lot. She's the one that does like the CrossFit stuff. She goes pretty hard every workout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly
So
everybody's just doing like weights, basically like basic. Like,
Yeah, I guess
But how were you
I
seeing
do
high
enjoy
intensity?
I do enjoy the high intensity. It feels good. Like you know, I used to like lifting heavy, and lifting heavy now and then it feels good for sure,
Yeah.
because that way you still like, all right, I'm still strong, I'm still like there, especially when you start aging and stuff,
Yeah.
right? But it's like ever since him and I started training this like I guess this
The hybrid stuff.
hybrid stuff, right?
I
And
prefer that way
I
too, but-
really do enjoy the hybrid stuff. Is you know, you're sore for a moment, but you're not constantly like I ache. Don't get me wrong, I do get aches and I'm achy or whatever. But you have days where you feel so good,
I
and
think
then
the hybrid stuff also keeps you like looser,
it
Well,
does.
that's the reason how it started is
looser and
because
leaner, and like that makes
I
you
think
feel
so.
Yeah.
Yes.
more
More
mobile.
functional,
Yes,
yeah.
more
Functional,
functional. Yeah, absolutely.
that's what started me training this way. Is because it was the only way I could like keep weight training but still incorporate.
Because like the
endurance
last thing I want to
stuff.
do is like be okay, like I want to like and be stiff, you know, and just like
Well, yeah.
not be able to like or
That's
like
why, like,
move
you know,
uncomfortably. I guess I would say.
You know, every like specific sport, you know, like you'll see the guys they're good at doing what they do, but they won't be able to like break out of that, right? Like,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like if you look, like you know, if I saw you know a bodybuilder, he looks super fucking strong.
Right.
The powerlifter's going to be able to lift him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then that powerlifter can't fucking run for shit.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Everybody's specified for a thing, right? So
Right.
it's nice to be able to.
And that's why I like
Incorporate
it.
everything.
Right.
So
It's like
it's-
that's why I like it, because it's not one specific thing, right?
Yeah.
You have your conditioning, you have your strength, you know, you're loose, you're mobile, you got your plyometrics in there, so it's just like it's all around. It's just
Yeah.
it just feels good. Feels good on the
Best
joints.
for like longevity
Yeah.
and just
Right. It feels good for the joints and everything, right? So it's just like it does. I do enjoy it, and I
And then you know what's thrown everything off is playing hockey again.
yeah, that's for you. Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
that's
you're
another
talking
thing.
about
That's like that's next level.
I'm like, you do all this shit, and you're like, oh, I'm confident, and then you're like, oh my god,
yeah.
I'm out of shape. It's a totally different thing, but
Yeah, well, you're using muscle groups you don't use in anything else.
but it's
because
really
when you're
cool to
skating, it's
see it
different.
like help another. Like I had those first couple times where it was just like, okay, you got to like that shock to the body, and then after I'm like, oh, I could see now like further in the game, you're expecting to get like winded and like
Yeah.
gassed, and you're like, oh no, I'm from doing these workouts, like I'm
Yeah.
literally on my watching my heart rate recover. Like I'm like, okay, I'm like that's kind of what.
And that's what I found
conditioning
that
is.
when I compare from beginning when we started this to like now, you see the change happening, right? It's like if you start working out and then you start seeing all these like muscles come
You
to
start
you
seeing
with like
change in your muscles.
changes, right? So same with the endurance, and like you know your endurance is like, man, my heart rate used to be like way up high, but the recovery, like you said, it just like it goes up high and then boom, it just like comes back down.
But you
Just,
also like start to set like now that we've done it for so long, you start to set like a new baseline for what you
Yeah.
expect out of your training. Like
Right.
if we went back and just did like bodybuilding workouts, we'd be like, dude,
this
did I
is
even
not
do anything
not
today.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
You got to work up that. You want to work up that sweat a bit.
Right.
Heart
So I
rate
feel like
and all this,
Yeah. So
like-
it's like I feel like if I don't leave the gym and I don't have a good sweat, I feel like, man, like did I do anything? But then I look at like the stats on a watch and it's just like, man,
Yeah.
you actually did.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. That's the hard part too, is people gauging. You know, is the same thing even like correcting your like form, like learning to lift based on like proper form versus like, you know, whether
Just-
or not it felt super heavy or not. Right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
dropping the weight and then like, you know, changing like you know, the angle that you're lifting on and
Yeah.
like, slowing it down and getting the contraction.
Yeah.
I feel like when I'm doing that style of, which is the proper style, I guess,
Yeah.
of lifting, I was like, oh, I'm not as gassed
Yeah,
because I'm not lifting
yeah.
as heavy, but I feel like it's harder to lift it.
Yeah,
Does
yeah,
that make
yeah.
sense? So
yeah,
it's-
because
Yeah.
you're not putting like you get to failure once the form like is not there or anything, and then that's when injuries and like different prolonged
yeah, so you're like
things
doing it
start to happen.
proper and slow. So you're like doing it like less reps. So you're like, oh, I only did like 6 reps
Yeah.
of this. So I'm like,
But your biceps are burning, for
well,
example.
yeah,
right?
exactly. But you
Yeah.
feel way
Yeah.
bigger of a burn. But then you're again, you feel like, well, I just did like
Yeah,
4 sets of 8 with, you know, a 15
Yeah, yeah.
dumbbell,
Yeah.
dumbbell instead of like, you know, 20s or 25s. And I'm like, well,
Yeah, no, I got over that a long time ago.
Yeah,
it's like the ego, I
that
guess,
ego, right?
yeah.
That ego is like, I do not care about
As
it.
soon as I stopped and like reset and like
anything.
went back to lightweight and like contracting and like right form and everything, I was like, okay, for a little bit, I was like, this is kind of like whatever. And then I actually started to see my body change. I'm like,
Well, especially with the body.
now I got to do it this way, but just like slowly, like now imagine doing it this way, but with those heavier weights and actually just like
you got to work your way up to that.
progressing up to that. You're like, that's when you see guys that are like monsters, but they're like functional. They're doing with form and they have 100-pound dumbbells. You're like, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like there's difference kind of like
It's learning to get there and those little tweaks and stuff like that.
Yeah. And like being able to just like forget about how much weight you're doing and actually like realize if it's hard, then the muscle's breaking down. Not like I should, but that guy over there is half my size doing 40s or whatever it is.
Yeah. See, like that doesn't faze me a bit anymore. It's like, what, like, you know, there's like, I don't have to prove to anyone anything, right? It's like,
and then circling back, that's kind of what like the CrossFit shitty thing about the CrossFit felt like is like, because they gave you a prescribed weight. It was like, you know, men do this amount and then women do that amount, and it's like everybody's in a different fitness level who's in the class. So it's like, you're like, okay, even if I go less, you know what I mean? But then there's a girl working out in the class.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then the girl, like this girl's like, you know, smoking me.
Right.
She also does like CrossFit every week, and you know, I sit at a desk job essentially. There's that like, you know, there's ego attached to it.
Yeah,
for
of
sure.
course.
Whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna go heavy, at least as much as she is going.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you know, and then you're doing it, and then it creates that competition, and it creates, you know, you're lifting stuff that you shouldn't be.
Yeah, totally.
And,
it's always in the subconscious area, you know. It's just like
if CrossFit, if you left like ego out of it completely, I bet you, you know, people would do way better at it, and it'd be way more functional.
No.
But
it's hard. It's not easy.
There's no way you're gonna get 30 average people every day, men and women competing in the same room.
To take ego out of it.
Take ego, yeah. Well, it is a hard part. Like you said, whether you like it or not, subconsciously it is there.
Yeah.
Whether you think about it, you don't.
If you're in there doing it one-on-one with a trainer, not so bad.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, I'm not feeling it today, but you know, you're in there with like, you know, your buddy or people you get to know or whatever.
It does. The competition kicks in, right? Like him and I train. Like obviously, if let's say he does a run and I'm on an assault bike, I don't want to be like him finishing the run and I'm still on an assault bike. And even if that happens, it should be like seconds away, right? So it's like I don't want to be on the bike and he's already like halfway through like the second sets of like reps or whatever, right? Like, you know, it's just like you have that. I guess competition is there, but you challenge each other. Essentially, that's how I look at it. Right.
Way I think, like, you know, when you're in a room of like 20 people
And you're trying to impress them all.
and you don't even impress, but like sometimes the workout's just
you just want to keep up.
Keep up. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You like I said earlier, you don't want to
True.
be.
Yeah.
You just don't want to be like one of the last people to finish.
Right.
So you're like, I want to be able to complete this, and then like, you know, that's when people get into like. Because you're supposed to like count your reps and stuff. That's when people get into like skipping reps, and like cheating essentially.
Right,
Yeah.
but then essentially you see cheating yourself.
Well,
Yeah,
you
but-
are
right.
But I mean, it feels.
Not
I
on
guess,
the
but then-
scoreboard,
But then like, you know, at the end of the class, you know, you at least feel like because everybody's working out so hard, nobody's like paying attention to the next person beside them and counting their reps. They just see.
I just wouldn't feel but it's like I wouldn't feel like right by like skipping a rep just to like I can beat somebody.
But I think people weren't even doing it to beat people. I think they were just doing it so they wouldn't
Stay alive.
They wouldn't be the last person.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I've definitely done it. Like I mean, like you know, there's like
especially in that moment,
25 people in the class. You know what I mean? And like, especially if you're like aesthetically look like you're in shape, and you're like can't even hold your own. Like I mean, I remember competing against people, and like, you know, visually I thought, oh, this person's not in as good shape as I am.
Yeah.
And they would smoke me.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how is that possible? Because they, you know, they do conditioning, they eat better,
right?
They're more mobile at work. You know what I mean? Like all these different things, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's so many aspects.
So you said it was like fighting too. Like that's a big thing I learned. It was like, you know, you see these guys and you're like, oh, I wouldn't think that person's that strong. They barely have any
looks
meat
can
on
be
them
deceiving
or whatever. And then they fucking, you know, they're knocking people out left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And then the big guy walks in the ring and you're like, oh, that guy's gonna dominate.
He gets
And
choked
then he
out or
gets-
something.
Yeah, gets choked out or gassed or
Yeah.
whatever. All those muscles do nothing, right? So
Yeah. No, it's everything plays a role. Everything, there's an aspect to it. So, I mean, if you're you can't tell. I mean, you can't judge the book by its cover, right? So that's essentially it. So whether you like it or not, there's some. I mean, when I watched him in when we went to Ironman, and you see people with different shapes and form of their body, and just killing it, you're like,
I come
they're not
stumbling
jacked.
by. You're like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? You
but
suck.
but then again, I think that's where you'll see like people that are better at a certain sport
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
tend to have a typical build, right? Like guys that are owning in CrossFit kind of have like that lean. It's like
Yeah.
almost like a bodybuilder, but even
Yeah.
like a little bit leaner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like guys that kill it in powerlifting generally look like
Yeah.
a powerlifter.
Yeah.
And then and then runners tend to be leaner because they don't have as much body fat because they've burnt it all off. right?
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
everybody, there's a reason why the people in the best are at that sport look the way they do.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. It's got to suit their sport. What time do you normally go to bed? Is this a late night for you?
No, it's not really. We can wrap it up though.
Whatever. I don't. Is there anything? What else do we know? What were some of those good questions?
Yeah, tattoo artists, for example. Would you like dead or alive? Who would you? Do you have anyone that you like? If you had a chance to sit down and let's say have a tattoo session with,
Dead or alive? If you could pick anyone to give a tattoo to.
Oh, okay.
I know
Give a tattoo to.
it's a tough it's a tough question, but because it's on the spot. But dead or alive, if you had to give one tattoo.
it doesn't have to be a tattoo. It could be anything.
No, give it. It's got to be a tattoo.
Tattoo, sure. Go
Because
ahead.
it's related to my
Yeah.
career.
What are the other ones I got?
I mean, that's a good question.
You don't have to answer. I mean, it's on the spot, right? So it could be athletes, artists, whatever.
I know it's. Do you think you'd go alive or dead? Someone in the past?
I think right now I don't know, but I bet you like years from now it would probably be just somebody I wish I got to spend more time with.
Okay.
Really? Yeah.
Because then it'd be because there's no I think I just think about those last days on the deathbed or the end of your life, and you're
Yeah.
oh, I wish I had more time with this person.
Yeah.
So it's like if I got to have an extra hour
It would be giving
Right.
this
or
person
two
a tattoo.
to
Yeah.
tattoo somebody, say if it was a tattoo scenario,
Yeah.
it'd be like cool. Now I can have this extra hour or two to have
Yeah,
this
that's
conversation
fair.
with
Yeah.
the person I wish I'd spent longer with.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, fortunately for me, I haven't really lost anybody due to death
Yeah,
in my life
yeah.
that I wish I.
Mentor then? Is there a specific or someone you grew up as a kid or
Yeah, but you know what? Not that I would I don't. I think as I've gotten older, I've less glorified people in the industry.
Yeah.
And now I'm just starting to look at people as everyday people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's people I pick their brain at for knowledge and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's I don't know. It's not
yeah.
I think I would rather just spend maybe an extra hour tattooing somebody like my wife or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Makes sense? Is that weird?
Yeah,
I don't
no.
No,
That's a
there's not a right or wrong
sound answer for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. I
There's
think the celebrity aspect of either tattooing or even famous people, it's
Yeah, no, it would.
I think
it's
I would I don't know there's lots of people that obviously I'd like to meet, but it's or pick their brain, but it's I think if this was your one wish and
Yeah.
you got to do a little bit of time with one person,
Yeah.
I'd rather that person be somebody I already have a relationship
Yeah,
with and have
Right,
to spend
yeah.
a little bit more time with.
Yeah, that's
cool.
that makes perfect sense
Yeah.
to me. It's not the other one was, I don't know if I forget where I heard this, but if you could know, if you had the power to know when and how you died, would
You
you?
choose it?
Would you choose to know the day and time and how?
I don't think so. I don't think I would. Because then I would live my life based on that. I'd rather have the unknown and just
fuck around anyways instead of do something you want to do.
Yeah, you know what? It is interesting.
And how? Like, that's a big aspect to it. You can pick one.
I think I'm already sort of living my life to an extent of like.
Yeah.
I kind of have this mentality of like, do everything you want to do now.
Right.
Like I'm irresponsible with money.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm not as good of a saver as I probably should be because like, you know, I like my toys. I like my motorcycle and my car, and I like, you know, getting a nice house and like decorating it the way I want.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if there's like you know, new gym shoes I want to buy, I'll buy them and stuff like. Because I'm like, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. So what's the point? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So if
what's the point
I'm
of,
just gonna put this thought. Like, so what are you leaning towards?
I'm
not knowing, but what if you found out and then you knew the date, would you press harder on the gas pedal?
Probably, yeah. 100%. But I think everybody would. Right? I think that's what happens. Like all these people, you know, you get diagnosed with cancer, and it's like they live that like fucking last 2 years of their life insane or whatever, right? So,
and then how would you want to know how you did?
How you die?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
So when and how?
Maybe I'd want to know when, but I don't want to know how.
How? Yeah. I don't think I would want to know how.
Really?
Well,
I don't know. It's just such like.
What if it ends up being like? Because I think if you know how, you'd be paranoid as shit, right? So it's like, what if they're like, "Oh, you're gonna drown," then like you're never gonna
go close to water, right?
But it's gonna happen anyways. So it almost defeats the purpose anyways. Like, what are you just gonna never go in the water, and then like the one time you go in after 10 years you drown? Or like, what if you never go in the water but you slip in a lake? You're like, oh my god, this is the time I fucking drown. Wouldn't you? I'd rather want to know. It's like, okay, I'm going to go in the water all the time now, just because like, if I go in 1,000 times a year, there's a 1 in 1,000. But if I go in once a year, that's the time I die.
I mean, you can say that about anything.
I know. So that begs the question.
You know, like you die by a frying pan. Like, how does that even happen? Like, I'm not going to never use a frying pan again.
But say you say hypothetically you were going to die. Oh yeah, I guess you would know when. So it would like if you're gonna die in the
if
next
you know,
year,
let's say you die,
bus,
yeah.
It's like I guess I could cross the street tomorrow and not be worried about heading by a bus because I know it's not gonna happen now.
Yeah, exactly. So like I think I would rather know when, like time frame,
and not how.
But not how. Because then that would also dictate how you're probably gonna die. Like you know, if they're like, oh, you're gonna die like say like, you know, 47, and it's like, okay, well, that's probably not gonna be related. It's probably going to be something out of my control.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably not going to be a health related thing. And if it is, it's going to be like a freak thing. Like, you know, I got cancer or something that like you just.
Yeah. Or you fell out of a helicopter or something. Wouldn't you want to know?
It's going to be something like less or, you know, if it's like old, they're like 85 or whatever. Like, well, that's probably just natural.
Tough luck, yeah.
And, you know, I can't prepare for that either. So.
Right.
But then if you knew how, then you'd be like, you're going to live your entire life around like you said, if it was like you're gonna drown, I'm like,
I'm not going to a lake.
Going in water again.
Yeah.
True.
You can't take a bath anymore. You might pass out in the bath and drown in a bathtub.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But no. So speaking of like client stories and like bathtubs, so this is a true story, and this is kind of why part of the reason why I try to live this style of life is because so one of my clients, they told me somebody in their family and. It was a married couple. They made good money, like I don't know, like a doctor or a nurse or something like that. Anyway, the two couple, they made good money, and they were related to my client. And they were saving for retirement, and they were waiting until their kids moved out of the house. Kids moved out of the house. They're both in college. They finally both retired, or the husband was going to retire in like a week or so.
Yeah.
Like that. And then they had a trip planned to go travel around the world for a year.
Yeah.
And stay in various places. Fucking buddy falls in the shower a week before he retires. Brain aneurysm, dies. Now they can't fucking travel, and they save all this money, and she never gets to spend time with him again.
I think I know this.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like,
right.
Crazy.
There's been cases like that.
Earlier,
yeah, for sure.
You would have had that amazing memory with him.
Right. And then he could have like
responsible with your money.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, like
I know that's that. I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah,
There's people literally go in retirement and die the next day, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like so. I just think,
it's
like you want to be. I don't know. Just don't put all your eggs in one basket. I think.
Yeah.
Don't hoard money. I think like money is like, like breathing. Like it should be like, you put it out, but then you bring it back in.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it should flow, right?
Yeah.
Like water.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think if you have that kind of mindset with it, it'll happen that way. But I think if you're just like trying to stack it.
Do you have any basically? So I think those are the only two so far that are like have made the cut. I think the camera roll one's too much explaining. How much would you pay to have your camera, if your camera roll was held at ransom, how much would you pay to get it back? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to be a stupid question.
I think it's like, maybe if you're like living a wild.
But like
Life
even,
or whatever.
yeah, I think if you had to give up, no. Do you have any questions that like are staples that just make people like catch them off guard as far as like, damn, that's a good question? Because we're trying to get like a couple of them that are like these type of thinker questions,
like-
but
just
not
like-
just like pretty
It's like thought provoking, right? So it's like,
Thought provoking. I don't know.
Yeah.
I ask my clients questions all the time.
or if you think
so
of
I don't
them,
want to have kids, so this is an interesting one. So I don't want to have kids, so I always ask clients that have kids. I'm like, do you regret having kids? And most people, you would think the answer would be no, 100% not. Like I love my children, but I've had enough answers come back to me where people say, I love my kids to death, blah blah blah. But if I had my time back, would I have done it again? Probably not.
really
I've had not even just one. I'm saying several.
Interesting.
clients say that to me because they're like just like they wish they had their free.
I think as
you're a parent, yeah. So
I think that would be the absolute worst thing for you to hear as someone who doesn't want to have kids, because I could not. I don't,
You're
and I don't
completely on the other
100%.
I think that's great, and that probably shows that you should be a parent. But I think that proves that there's people that shouldn't be parents.
Yeah, but I also
Yeah.
think it gives you the wrong impression. Like it's almost like,
it leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
yeah, it's like a
I should try that.
biased like answer that you want to hear.
You want
low
to
key.
hear for sure, but I mean, I think that's the interesting. Like you're like,
Yeah.
heated question is like, because it's like I think that as well, but it's also like I think if you were to have a kid and then you like ended up resenting the child for like lack of freedom or like stressing you out.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I think
And I
that's.
hear it from
Yeah.
people, so it's like
I can't even relate to that at all, because I think that like there's so much value
I think that's awesome.
received from every like just
For
having
sure.
a
And I think like
child.
at the end of the day, they would maybe claim the same. But like like for example, like there's so many times I'll have like a guy come in or a woman, and like they'll sit down for a 4-hour tattoo and it's like in a painful spot, and I'm like, hey man, I'm really sorry I'm doing this to you today. Like I know it's not going to be a fun session for you, and they're like, honestly, this is going to be the most relaxing 4 hours I've had in so long.
You know what I would like?
And it's like, oh, I'm going to be stabbing you with needles, and like, you don't have children.
I bet you it's almost like I'm just like kind of thinking of where people would draw that mindset from. Like I bet you a thought to that would be like, I bet you those people that said no, like how many people of them like love what they do for a living, or like
Are they like already miserable in other aspects of their life, and then they kind of also project
Right, 'cause
it's just like there's some state of mind where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. That could be just negative
they're
people
just
in general.
watching
Right.
doing like crunching numbers all day, or like
if they're miserable people, and you're like you already have that like projected
mindset.
shit.
Yeah.
you're just in
Because
a
that is something I've learned as I've gotten older too. Is like the amount of like negativity that people project onto other people subconsciously. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
notice it in like older generations. Like my mother's done it and different things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's like you talk to people and they just always have something.
Yeah,
negative to say.
100%.
And they think they're just making conversation, but really they're complaining.
Right.
and like to bring it like how
but they
many,
don't even
don't-
think about it.
No, they're not self-aware.
Right.
But
they're
like
not
when do you
self-aware.
how
Our
often
generations become way more self-aware than any other
Then-
generation. So
I believe that.
and
yeah,
like
for
how
sure.
many of those people again would be like, if you ask that question, like if someone's parent or elder was like, again, did what they loved doing their whole life and was like
but
successful.
think about how you know, me and you, like, we're in a very like fortunate position.
But that could
I
be
would say,
anything, right?
I would say like 75% of people I know are not happy in their job.
I don't even think it boils down to just
it doesn't even have to be the job.
I think it's
just
like
life in
just in
general.
I think it's like having
Yeah.
like don't have this passion thing they do.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
don't
for
like
sure.
have that thing in their life that
Yeah, maybe
brings
they're
them
just
joy.
miserable, yeah.
But
I'm not saying they are. I'm
But
just saying
there's
like
like, you know, we were talking about like hot controversial things, and I'm like, that is one of them that I've always thought was interesting.
yeah.
And then like, you know, do you have a favorite kid? And like for people that have multiple kids, and then like some people have told me no, and then people are like, well, one kid's like, you know, more difficult than the
Yeah.
other, but that doesn't necessarily make them my
Yeah.
favorite. And then I've tried people straight out and tell me 100% yes, I have a favorite child.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Like it's kind of I think it's different when you realize the relationship that there is between like kids and just
the
different,
parents.
like, yeah.
Everybody has different dynamics.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just like the penguin. The guy locks his brothers up. That's it.
insane.
Well, yeah, every family is different, right? Like, you
Yeah.
know, some people are going to be very close to their parents. Some people
Yeah,
are not going to
yeah.
be close at all. You know, some people, you know, are really, really close to their siblings. Some people barely talk to their siblings.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, every family is different, but that maternal, especially like, you know, when mothers specifically, like, because like I can understand a little bit of a distance from a father's perspective, but specifically when I hear mothers like tell me that, I've been like, oh shit.
Yeah, right? Like yeah.
Like, they're like, I love my kids, and I will fucking take a bullet for them. But they're like, but if this time machine, because they're like, what was described to me is they're like, this is a love, like especially one client. I don't even remember what client it was, but I remember this stuck in my head, and they're like, having kids is like a love and a joy you'll never ever experience, unless you've gone through it.
Yeah.
They're like, however, I never knew what that felt like until I had kids. So they're like, if I never had kids, I would probably never miss it.
I guess if you want to yeah.
Because
I think
you know, right?
How would you know, right?
I think
So it's
I think there'd be a natural longing to wonder, like, for sure. That's you can't argue that. If you didn't
Yeah.
know, how do you know if you miss it? And that's why it's always like talking someone as a parent to a non-parent. It's like it is just something you can't.
Yeah,
like,
and then you know, people like me would be like, well, I have a dog.
yeah. Honestly, there is a huge aspect to that. Like, it's more the same than it's not.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that because usually people are like, it's not the fucking same. Which I get.
It's more the same than it's not, I think.
Yeah.
And again, I think it depends what kind of like
dog owner. You
dog
Right.
owner and relationship you have with your dog. Like,
I mean,
I spent
everything
more
plays a
time with
role.
Kilo than I would any given child.
Yeah.
So like, there's a huge thing that like matters. But if you're just like, if your dog is your, yeah, I think it's more the same than not. But
And then people also
there are
always
those-
love their own kids. Like,
Yeah.
I know so many parents that are like, I fucking love my, like, they're like, I don't like kids. And I'm like, don't you have like 2 or 3 of them? And they're like, no, I love my kids.
Yeah.
I hate
Anybody
kids.
else,
like,
yeah.
Because they're like, because it's like sometimes this is like, and like, you know, even me, like, you know, or my wife, like she's told me so many times, you know, she'll be at work and then someone says like, oh, starts talking about,
Yeah.
you know, their kids. And then you gotta give that.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. You know what I mean? But like nobody can. Like, we don't give a fuck if your kid just did ballet recital. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So
No, yeah, for sure.
Nobody really cares. Like,
Yeah.
No, but it's that's interesting.
even like my
still.
friends that have kids, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I see them post pictures and I'm like, that's great. But
Yeah.
like, you know, I have zero attachment.
Yeah, for sure.
There's people who just like don't. Some people do, and just
Yeah.
that's. I mean, fuck.
Yeah,
that's
everybody's
humans,
just different.
man.
But
Yeah.
I do find that like that aspect of like, you know, being like human in relationships
Mm-hmm.
like interesting because it's like,
What else?
No,
Yeah,
you
like
should do the
anything-
podcast with tatting people.
100%.
yeah, I
Like that's stuck in my
I got
head. and it's
everything.
like, that's awesome.
I got. You could use these, or I have the clip mics.
Yeah, like I said, I got a guy that does like the
Yeah.
like videography stuff. So he said like he would.
It would take
like, I could do
6 seconds to set it up.
Just flip it on and stuff like that. But
Just
yeah,
do a
it's
test
given us
run.
So many crazy stories. Like I said, like I you know like I like especially like interesting job people, right?
Right.
I like tattooed like off the top of my head just because these are topics that are really interesting to me. Is like the drug cop. I've tattooed a drug cop, and I've tattooed like an undercover cop and stuff like that. It's just like
It's just cool.
your life is like the movies. Like the
Yeah.
way they describe it is like, you're kicking down doors.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
arresting bad guys and
Yeah.
like fucking
You're
doing
really
crazy shit.
yeah.
And it's like I sit here and I draw. Like,
Yeah,
Right.
like
yeah.
our lives are so different, right?
Polar
I think that's,
opposites.
like,
Yeah.
but that's like their reality every day, and like my reality is this, and it's just like that's. I think
Too
that's
bad
so
we
interesting.
didn't. It's. I don't think I have anything else. I mean,
No, that's okay. I whatever.
I want to just start something else to like come do it. But you know what? We've had this like you and me wouldn't be you. It's better like with genuine strangers. You're
Oh, when
Yeah,
you sit
'cause
down.
a stranger
if it
comes
was
in,
me
you
and
have
you,
no
it'd be
idea.
like we'd be like it's hard to have the same conversation with
Well, 'cause,
people
I
like
feel like
you've
when
already.
you have people that you already know, you're essentially just catching up.
Like it
Right.
would have been the first time we sat down. Like there's
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
that's talked all
Yeah,
like
if I-
there's
when I
like
was first meeting you,
cool
and
stuff that like what what are you all about? What I'm
Yeah.
like blah 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 blah.
Yeah, when you
like-
have people that you already know that sit down in your chair, a lot of it's just like catching up or like
Yeah.
the same thing
Right.
we did when we sat down here. Oh,
Yeah.
what movies have you seen lately?
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. But then it's like when I'm getting to know people for the first time.
Yeah, because it's like
And it's
funny. You
genuine.
don't know who that person is until you start a conversation with them.
But a lot goes to speak to that like authentic first conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. I love those authentic first.
Yeah.
I actually have a very good example. I had a client in the other day. He works in a factory now, but he used to be ex-military, and he got reference from another guy that works at his factory, and like he comes in, really really nervous, his first tattoo, but he's a big guy, like ex-military guy.
Yeah.
He used to fight MMA. He told me and stuff like that. So like bigger guy, and he's like. He sits down, gets tattooed by me, and then like within the first 10 minutes, he starts opening up, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm like really nervous." And I was like, "Oh man, don't be nervous." Blah blah blah. And I like try to like be calming and kind of like
Yeah.
reassure him like everything's gonna be cool. Blah blah blah. And then like we kind of got into small talk about the guy that recommended him, and he was like, "You're really nice." Like I was really intimidated coming into a tattoo shop for the first time. He's like, and like I've seen like your picture online or whatever, and he's like, and I don't know anything about you, but he's like just from visually seeing
Of
you
course.
online, he's like, you look like a scarier dude, and he's like, I thought you'd be like really like
Hard ass or
hard
something.
ass or like whatever, and he's like and then you come in here, he's like, you're very soft spoken, he's like, the music's really chill, and he's like, within the first 10 minutes you made me feel really comfortable, and he's like, and then we start getting into like, I was like, oh yeah man, like this isn't like this macho place at all. I'm like,
Yeah.
we're listening to like acoustic music and like I got plants everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just a chill vibe. And then we start talking into like mental health, and then like going to therapy, and like stereotypes that men go through and all this stuff. And he was like, by the end of the session, he was just like blown away.
Yeah.
And then he starts opening up and telling me he's a part of this like men's church group, and that like and then he felt weird about talking about religion with me, and I was like, man, you can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then all these like stereotypes that get broken down from like and then he's like he worked in when he was in the army, he's like there's a lot of those things that those guys were going through, and he's like, I wanted to talk to them about things, but he's like there's that wall up because you're a guy, and
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, like I'm all about breaking down those stereotypes, and he's like, oh, I'm all about that too. And like we ended up leaving, having an amazing like
How
super,
awesome would that
deep,
been? Like-
intimate conversation. And then like my other artist came by, and he like checked on him and was like checking out the artwork halfway through the tattoo, and then they started talking. And then when he left to go work on a client, he was like, man, that guy was super nice too. He's like, everybody that works here like this, and I was like, yeah man, like this is just like this is just how we are. He's like, I thought this was going to be completely different, and it's just interesting how like we think we have these impressions
of
of people,
course.
Yeah.
and we project it onto other. Again, back to the projections. And I was the same way, like not when I came here, but like when I started training MMA,
Yeah.
or like training at the boxing gym.
Yeah.
I walked in there not knowing anything about it at all, and I'm like, oh, everybody's here is going to be a meathead.
Yeah.
They're going to be like fucking like super short tempered, like asshole dickhead guys,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
tough guys, right? No, they're the nicest people ever. There's tons of kids there training and learning like boxing. There's lots of women there too, which I was not expecting. And like everybody was like, everybody's
Super
the most chill.
welcoming and stuff.
Yeah, like very like I walk in there and I see a familiar face. they say hi,
Yeah.
like very like shoot the shit. Like nobody, I've not met one person there that's like comes off like
Rubbed
I'm
you
a
the
tough
wrong
guy.
way, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At all, and like yet they're all learning to essentially like
Kill each
other
other,
people.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're the most like level-headed, like relaxed, chill
Yeah,
people, and
yeah.
it's like, you know, I think it's the same way, you know, in my industry where like, you know, there's like stereotypes and whatever, and I think like
Yeah, of course.
I'm all about breaking those stereotypes. You know what I mean? I love like, I actually like when people are like, I thought you were gonna be like this. And
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
You know? I'm like, cool. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of that's a
Yeah,
big thing.
for
And I want
sure.
if I could do that on the podcast.
100%. I
Right.
think it's just it'd be example of how those natural conversations expose like those type of
even
things.
like I was saying, like some of the most interesting conversations, like these cops, for example, is like I've had cops sit down and like be very hesitant to tell me they're a cop, and they're like, well, you know, a lot of people don't like cops, and
Yeah.
especially like after like the COVID era and stuff. Like
Yeah.
that, there was like all that stuff in the States, and it was like, no man, like I have like no beef with the cops,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, you know, I'm actually like curious about like your job and tell me about it, and you know, then they start opening up and telling me
Yeah.
these things. But like I've had so many of them be like, you know, they don't.
Yeah,
tell me
yeah,
what they
yeah,
want
there
to
has-
do until like you
You're-
know it's really asked and like kind of pried out of them, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's super interesting, right?
Well, you got to do it.
Yeah, you should do a test run.
Yeah, 100%.
See how it goes.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I got to get a few more pieces for this wall.
Bring the truck by anytime, right? I got, like I said, 13, 14, 15 minutes sitting in the basement.
Okay, I'm going to put that over tomorrow and then start it and then
That's why I like the abstract paintings, because like everything, you know, I do is so very
yeah.
like specific, and like,
Yeah.
it's got to look realistic, and it's got to be this way, and there's rules, and you can't really break them, otherwise, you know, it's gonna look
Yeah.
fucked up. But like if I'm doing stuff like that, there's no rules. I can do whatever the fuck
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah.
You know, it could be really sloppy.
Yeah, no, I'll
You
bring
know,
it
whatever,
over
you
and
know?
then
Yeah.
we got
It's
to
kind of just literally just
It's art, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
feeling it, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's art, but it's in a different way, right?
Right.
There's skill set, but there's also like no skill set.
Freedom,
at all. It's
like,
you
yeah.
know, it's like it's all objective, right? But
yeah.
that's kind of what I think is funny. That's
Yeah. Nice.
Cool.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
Good. You got anything else?
No man.
That's it. Thanks
Happy,
thanks
you
for
guys
coming,
had-
Yeah, that
man.
was
Yeah,
good.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Sweet.
yeah. Simple.
Until next time. Thanks for listening. See ya.